Hey, this episode is brought to you by Roll Up to Win from Tim Hortons. Now listen, you can roll up on the cups again because you know everybody's been asking about that. That's while supplies last, but also Jesse does the smart thing and he orders ahead.
I do.
And what happens, Jesse, when you order ahead via the Tim Hortons
You get
app?
double the amount of rolls. I've been banking so many rolls just for these moments.
Well, I appreciate that.
Steve, do you want to do the roll today?
Yeah, do it.
Take my phone.
Now you have to physically roll.
So
Yeah,
I
so-
touch it.
Touch any one of them.
I
Yeah.
touch it.
There you
Touch
go.
it.
And then
And you can roll
it.
Hey.
And
Hey.
please play again. That's my birthday
I've been
gift.
winning so much.
No, no.
And then
Okay,
I give it
watch
to
this.
you and you lose.
Watch this. You do it.
Okay.
You do it right now. You're gonna win one.
So I hit keep rolling. I'm gonna do the roll. Oh no! Sorry, not your lucky
look
cup.
what you did.
I
look what you
cursed
did.
it. I cursed his
Steve.
phone.
Now it's important that you use your app because you can win points through the Tim Hortons app, which Jesse won. I think you won 50 points last episode.
Yeah, I've won 150. I've banked a lot of points.
There you go.
For this.
Bank some points for Roll Up to Win. And also, other things too, like the Volkswagen ID Buzz, which I saw on the street the other day. They're sick. They're very cool.
Yeah,
They're a big,
I
bright
like
color. Feels like California on a very gray
And
March day.
You could win a vacation.
Yeah! Which would be
All
nice.
inclusive vacation too.
So many
Speaking
other
of
things.
California.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, listen, you can still play on the cup while supplies last. Play on the app too. Roll Up to Win is only around until March 22nd. That's like the end of next week. So you don't want to wait till it's over to realize that you forgot to play. Roll Up to Win only at Tim's. Let's start the show.
Steve P. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Micah Parsons, Connor McDavid. Cool that they're swapping jerseys. Great.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, tell Jesse what he needs to do with this picture.
I need you to zoom in on the very top of the one on the Parsons jersey that Micah Parsons gifted to Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
If you read it
Even further.
even more than that, because you got to be able to read the inscription.
You can't.
You can't.
Well,
What?
What does it say, Steve?
it says to McDavid, which is
How
awesome.
did you read that?
It doesn't say to Connor.
Because on Twitter, it's not nearly as pixelated for some reason. Yeah, not
okay.
to Connor, not to like my friend, to McDavid, which made me laugh very, very hard. I think he thinks his real first name is McDavid, but I can't tell you for sure. That's all, Jesse. That was all. Look at that. To Micah. That's what it says on the jersey McDavid gave to Micah Parsons that he's going to throw out immediately. And
Oh.
he doesn't. It's hockey.
Micah Parsons has never heard of Connor McDavid.
NFL players.
What's
don't
he
care
doing
about
in
hockey.
Edmonton?
I don't know.
That is a good question. Well, it's not like they were playing in Green Bay. I don't know.
Nobody asked that question.
No, all I cared about is he said to McDavid, which I think is funny.
And then he included a pin drop for the location. I'm kidding. It is I don't know. It's bizarre that they,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's cool that they did it, I guess, but it's kind of like, what are you doing here?
Adam,
What?
you know what's even cooler than that?
What's that?
That I'm going to be in Truro, Nova Scotia next week. Yes.
Because you're a fucking nerd. No, I'm
I'm
kidding.
such a nerd.
Reading is for nerds. We've
Come be
established
a
that.
nerd. I'm going to be at Truro Library with Tyler Hellard, the author of Searching for Terry Punchout, the book that I am championing on Canada Reads in April. This event is on March 18th, Wednesday, March 18th, 3 to 6 p.m. You need to get a ticket, and we're going to put that down below, and it costs nothing. You just need a ticket. That's
cool.
all. So come and say hi and hang out, and there's going to be musical guests, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Truro, Nova Scotia. Truro.
You cleaned up your beard a little bit.
I did.
I'm just looking
That's
at
all
your,
you're
I'm looking at-
distracted by?
I'm looking at your mustache and I'm like, did you Auston Matthews your mustache a little? Just get a little off
Just
the
a
top?
little.
Bit of a pencil?
Shout out Seaford at Florida Fades.
Okay.
Hooking me up.
Well, and I like how Adam just didn't care that.
Whatever. Reading for
No, he
losers.
didn't care.
He didn't care at all.
No. Adam's
I let
pointing
him say
out
his
that I
thing.
cleaned up my beard because I'm going to Truro, Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
that's what
impress
cleaned it
everyone.
up for.
It does mean that the podcast will be Monday, Tuesday, Friday next week.
Yes.
So people should know that.
A little bit of research, meaning I just checked where the game was last night. They played in Dallas. That's why Micah Parsons was there.
Is he no longer on the Packers?
Yeah, but he lives in Dallas.
Oh, right. It's the off season. Sorry.
Jeez, God.
Jesse, even though I won our fantasy football league, doesn't mean I know anything.
He just attended a Stars game.
He was simply there. Oh, well, if he paid to attend,
He
maybe
must be playing for the. He must be playing for the team, or he must have left the Packers. No, he's in Dallas.
That was my first thought. My first thought is, how about them Cowboys?
In Edmonton, in
Okay.
Dallas, where he's at his home.
Got it.
To McDavid.
To McDavid. Sorry, your team got murdered tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he was thrilled about trading jerseys with that guy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. Now,
Also, Oilers stink.
they do. They're bad.
They
That
should-
whole division
Gotta
stinks,
get some
dude.
goaltending.
Listen, you figure out Jari in the offseason, you run Ingram Pickard going forward. Enough of this. Enough. Holy cow. You're going to ruin this whole season by playing that guy. 855?
Yeah, he's unplayable.
That's unplayable. So think of how bad Levi Marilainen was for the Sens. Remember that? And he's getting called out by, I think it was it Thomas Chabot or no, Jake Sanderson.
Mhm.
He's worse. He's statistically kind of significantly worse than Levi Marilainen was for the Sens.
And they gave up a goaltender who went to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals and was expiring this offseason to take on the money of Tristan Jarry for the next few years. Like that's the decision they made.
Trading Stuart Skinner, I totally understand. They needed to try something. Boy, howdy, that was not the thing.
Jarry was on waivers last year.
If we're
and
gonna-
he passed on him.
Yeah.
We weren't going to start here, but let me throw some stats at you that I dug up on Tristan Jarry. And somebody online made it even better. I think it was Captain Jack. But I just looked up, in the last 10 games, how many goals has Jarry given up?
How many games?
10. Captain Jack, I think, had this one, but I did have this. I did this myself.
45.
It's 41. And
That's crazy.
in how many of those games, Jesse and Steve, in the last 10 games, has Jarry given up less than 2? So a goal or 0?
1.
I'll say 1 as well.
1.
Oh, there you go.
Gee.
826 save percentage.
A what?
826 save percentage.
So I said 855. That's since he's been traded there.
Yeah, this
So
is just the last 10 games.
recently, he's actually been so much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to play Pickard.
And
It's
Bob
got to be
Stauffer's talking about how they're fighting at practice. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Ingram Pickard.
Yeah.
No, you can't play this person.
No, and you're probably going to have to buy him out. Good luck.
The buyout, I don't think makes too much sense. Like they get screwed on it as well. Let me just triple check.
Man,
the
Stan
buyout.
Bowman is actually bad.
outside
I got to be honest. He's not good at this.
Outside of winning the Stanley Cup, he has to resign. Okay, you can't bring that suggestion to ownership. You can't.
Nope.
Hey, I'm going to buy out Jarry. No, you simply have to resign.
Yeah. So this is the buyout situation because he makes $5.375 million. That's the cap hit for the next 2 seasons. And the buyout is 4.1 or 4.7 and then
Oh my
4.2.
God.
So you might as well pay the $1 million to have the goaltender.
Yeah.
Or just send him down to the minors as opposed to we're saving $1 million. It doesn't really help you.
It's Jack Campbell extended.
Yeah, it's bad. It's a situation that you put yourself into. It's an unforced error.
At what
that you
point
made.
do you just tell the player stay home?
Yeah, eventually we got to send you down to Bakersfield.
No,
No, not even that.
I don't want you playing with our developmental
No,
system.
I don't-
LTIR.
I'm not even joking.
I think you go to Bakersfield.
You Lou Lamoriello it. You LTIR it. Say you're not playing this season. Declare yourself out the next 2 years. Whatever Lou did to get Lupul and Robida and all these guys to do that, do that. Do that.
Man.
Kyle
That's
Dubas.
a shame, man.
Incredible work by Kyle Dubas.
Yeah.
It's the most successful pump and dump I've ever seen.
Since Dion Phaneuf.
No.
That was a pump and dump. And that was
but
on
this
purpose.
this is so much more cut and dry.
Dion Phaneuf had 5 years left on his deal at $7 million.
Yeah, but at least the Sens got a little out of it. He wasn't a terrible Sen. They went to the conference final.
Yeah.
And also it wasn't as
Watch
cut
the
and
Oilers
dry.
will too with Jarry. It'll be hilarious. He'll have an 826 the whole way and they'll still win.
Right. It wasn't as cut and dry as he was 9-3-1 or something was his record in Pittsburgh with a over 900 save percentage. got traded, turned into a pumpkin, like immediately.
Mhm.
Immediately. Joking. He sucks. Like Kyle Dubas, if I remember correctly, when he was GM of the Leafs, made a bunch of trades with Stan Bowman. And like, that was one of the things we sort of talked about.
Well, he was more Kyle Davidson, was he not?
It might have been Davidson. I thought it was Bowman. Maybe it was Davidson.
Fleury deal to Toronto was a Davidson deal.
Like I guess what I'm getting at is, like, if you're Stan Bowman, you can't make a trade with that person ever again. Like, they fucked you. They cost you your job.
There is a good video out there if somebody was willing to do it.
Oh, he means me.
Since you have the trade tree, stuff, but I could do it on Monday if I did a little research.
Mm-hmm.
Just recapping Stan Bowman's last 10 or 15 consequential trades dating back to the Blackhawks, and I would guarantee you it does not paint a pretty picture.
I mean, how about letting two good players who would have helped you potentially win a Stanley Cup last year get offer sheeted?
That's Jeff Jackson.
You're right.
Stan didn't take over until mid-August, remember? And now
they
weren't, to be fair to Stan and to Jeff, they're both sort of owning this because Stan had literally just taken over. But Jeff Jackson let it get to August because they were trying to work out an extension with Holloway at very least in January and kept lowballing him. And Broberg really wasn't a regular feature in the lineup until the playoffs, and especially in the Stanley Cup final, where they were finally scratching Ceci for Broberg.
I was surprised by the amount of money he got.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
he wasn't a $4 million player when he signed that.
And now he is.
Yeah.
Now he's more than that.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that Broberg took a while to develop. I think Oilers scouts and development staff were a little tired of him because they didn't think he panned out as quickly as he should have. All they would have had to do, honestly, and here's the thing. It was an RFA offer. All Edmonton would have had to do was manage their cap properly and just match it.
Yeah. Which was too much to ask.
Yeah. And that summer, they also lost Ceci, depth defenseman. And
now you have a goalie you can't buy out.
yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a rough look.
Man.
A rough look. So, that is the Edmonton Oilers picture. 7-2 loss. I don't know. Do we want to bring up Connor McDavid fighting? Do we want to?
I'd rather do a quick thing on Evan Bouchard. Just a
what do you got?
brief comment on
corner?
Evan.
Is it
Bouchard's-
Is it Evan Bouchard corner?
I guess.
Is it
you
a
have to
complimentary
define it.
Evan Bouchard?
No, it's a typical Evan Bouchard corner.
Okay, regular season corner is not complimentary.
No, but this is the reason that I know there's Norris buzz out of Edmonton for Bouchard, but you have to take into account that yes, he is one of the best offensive defensemen that we have in this league.
No question.
You can't question that. His record in the playoffs, Steve brings it up all the time. The amount of points per game he's had in the playoffs as a defenseman is all time.
It's crazy.
But the defensive side of the game is a big part about being a defenseman.
Oh.
And you have to be excellent at both ends. And little things like this, like last night in Dallas on the third goal that was scored, I believe it's Jason Robertson who's going to make this play, are the little things you see where it's like, Evan, we can't have this happen in the moment. So first shot of the game for Dallas goes in last night, and they score on that. So already down.
Also,
1-0.
shots are 9-2.
Shots are 9-2 at this moment.
Yeah.
Then there's a turnover where they get a 2-on-1. Evan Bouchard, it's not his fault. He just got on, and he has to deal with this 2-on-1. Dallas goes down. They score on that 2-on-1.
Yeah.
So you're already down 2-0. It's 5 minutes left in the first period. Shots are 9-2, as Steve mentions. And then this happens. The puck is in the Edmonton offensive zone. They're cycling it around the back, and the puck goes up to the top to Evan Bouchard. So he's going to get this pass. Typical play, right?
Yep.
He's just defenseman gets the puck at the top. But Evan Bouchard, puck's on his stick here, does not make a strong play on the puck.
What should he do here, Jesse? What can he do? What are his options?
It's read very well by the Stars.
The answer is literally anything but what he does. Because what he does here is not make a quick decision, and that allows the Dallas Stars player to simply take the puck off of his stick.
And goodbye.
Man,
goodbye.
That is shades of Tyson Barrie. The only difference is Tyson Barrie would have fired it off the Dallas player's knee.
It reminds me of being at Shinny where you can just go up to guys and kind of just poke the puck away because we're all not very skilled. So you kind of just take the puck, and Evan Bouchard just gets the puck, just taken right.
It's a good read
off of his stick. Oh yeah, no, you have to make a great play at this level to make plays like this. 100%.
He has McDavid. It might have got picked off, but even if it did, it wouldn't have resulted.
Who
in a
passed to
breakaway.
him?
So who got Evan Bouchard the puck?
Who passed him the puck?
Was that Hyman behind
that?
the net?
Hyman?
Yeah.
So he has Hyman and McDavid open.
Yeah, I'm just asking him move the puck.
He could. Yeah, he could even cross.
It's on your stick here. You have space between you and the attacking player that's coming at you. You got to make a decision. You can't let him just simply take the puck off of your stick. And that leads directly to a 2-on-1 the other way. Darnell Nurse is going to stop that.
Yeah.
that's
the guy you want.
That's what he does so well. No, he doesn't. Evan Bouchard tries to get back. Eventually, he gives up. And you'll see straight knees Bouchard just not make a play. And Dallas shoots it, and they score. Yeah. And that, to me, was the end of the game. It was 3-0, and Edmonton's cooked. Game's over.
And Evan said to McDavid, "You're welcome."
I mean, at the end of the day, he made a mistake. Make a save.
Oh my God!
Make a save.
That's the most important thing in the conversation is they don't have goaltending.
Yeah.
Make a save. They do.
His name's Connor Ingram.
Connor Ingram and Calvin Pickard couldn't possibly be worse.
I now understand why Calvin Pickard's agent was so pissed. Remember, he went on that podcast. He's like, Calvin's done nothing but
my client lost a job to Tristan Jarry.
Yeah.
Get out of my face.
Sorry, and that was Jason Robertson, unassisted, who made that wonderful play. If you watch the little dots here.
Oh, it was assisted.
Assisted by Bouchard.
Sorry, is that gold medalist?
There's Jason Robertson, not gold medalist, making that beautiful play all by himself, taking on all of Edmonton to score that goal.
They probably would have gold medaled harder, I think, had he been in there.
Too furious.
Yeah, I still think they made a mistake, even with the gold medal. Anyway, BetMGM is an official sports betting partner of the National Hockey League and has everything for action on the ice, but also on the field. Because spring is here.
Steve, you're talking to the people who might know what happened, but Team Canada, plus 4.5 spread against Team USA. They're heavy underdogs here.
That's so strange.
6.5 times your money in the World Baseball Classic quarterfinals to win this game. Is that a fool's bet? Is that a donation, as the kids will call it, if you bet on Canada to win tonight against Team USA? 6.5 times your money.
Patriotic thing would be to bet on Canada, but this is like, here's what that little scandal did. You're playing against the U.S. team that's going to try now, which is a problem, and I just don't see it going well for anyone they face.
Because their manager doesn't know which games matter and which don't.
Yeah.
But now he knows that this game matters, so they're going to actually try.
Man, they almost beat you without knowing the rules. Now imagine what they can do with them.
Adam, as the proud American on our show, are you going to be placing a bet 1.12 times your money for America to win?
You'll feel real good if you bet for Canada, but you're betting for the States.
If you put $2 on the USA to win today, you get 24 cents.
Listen, if you enough 24-cent bets and you'll be a millionaire.
Damn.
There's no lie in that statement.
No lie.
Yeah.
Bet the winner. Now, BetMGM has improved its lineup this season to include instant withdrawals, data insights, and a brand new rewards hub. Download the BetMGM app and wager like never before. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you have any questions or concerns about your gambling or somebody close to you, contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. And BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario.
Doesn't matter.
Let's talk about, we've got a couple of major things, big stories to talk about today. And I warned everybody that it was going to be a thick show with 2 C's. And I don't say that often because they're always long and we always have lots to talk about. But
long and thick.
This one is thick and hard. This one starts with what should be a good thing. Okay? The Toronto Maple Leafs snapping an 8-game losing streak.
Hooray!
Wow. Hey,
hooray.
Round of applause. Let's go. Go Leafs, go. Always cheering for that. Maddie's got the, she got the poetry snaps going. Let's go. I love that.
When do I get to be a giant nerd about what the definition of the winless streak and losing streak is.
Do it right now. Right now is the perfect time. Go. Yeah. No, delay the inevitable. I want that first. And I think the people want that,
Hold
Jesse.
on, because I'm a loser for caring about this stuff, and I'm well aware.
I was taking a lot of shit because remember last episode you were like you were spiraling off into and Brad and Keith, and I was like, Steve, let's stay on topic.
We're talking
about Matthew Nice, and people were like, Adam, you got to get out of his way. I'm like, we've heard this the last 5 episodes, man. We're just trying to talk about Matthew Nice.
Here's the difference between you and I. Jesse's like, can I go on a side tangent? And I was like, I'd love to hear this.
Okay.
And with me, it's like, shut up, Steve! Idiot!
That's not how that went. Jesse has not debated this the last 5 episodes. This is the difference. All right?
You know what you do?
All right?
I don't get to do anything fun. So in my house, in my own house, let me tell you about how I don't get to do anything
Here's a side tangent to your side tangent.
My side tangent to my side tangent.
When I was the one who was supposed to go on the side.
I don't give a damn. No, you're doing it again.
There's never been a more SDP moment. Adam threw to me to do my side tangent, and Steve's like, wait a second, I got one.
I don't have any fun. I'm Steve Dangle.
Adam does this, and also my 2-year-old daughter. Leo is at an age where he wants to wrestle. So I wrestle with him, and we're wrestling, and wrestling is rough. And to my daughter, you're not supposed to do that. So I just hear, hey! And I look at her, and she, with her, like, 1.5 feet tall, whatever she is, she goes, Daddy, no thank you.
Oh.
Finger up in my face. Daddy, no thank you.
Oh, damn.
She turned 2 last week. So Adam is just full of daddy, no thank you.
She is heartbreakingly
How did she learn that?
Oh, that would be
because she's a boss and going to be the enemy.
Mrs. Dangle Mrs. Dangle has told me on several occasions via text that Isla is now in charge. There is no, that she's a very bossy boots.
Yes.
So very interesting.
No, every time we hang out with my wife's mother, she just gives her a look that suggests you deserve this.
Is the what is it? I don't know the thing terrible twos?
Yes.
Is that an actual thing?
Yes.
The 2 people next to me with children.
Yeah.
Isla's trying this new thing.
Yes.
It's just called terrible. Yeah. She's just terrible.
It's just she's 2,
Yeah.
right? And Adam was Everly terrible at 2 as well. Oh yeah, Adam's eyes wide open.
I can
for anyone
remember
listening.
one moment where she was tired and we were with her grandparents and her grandparents didn't want the day to end. And I said, guys, she needs to go for her nap now. It was midday. And they're like, well, no, please, don't worry. She's fine. And I said, no, she's not. The volcano's about to go off. No. And sure enough, they kept pushing and we said, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And she exploded. And they left while she exploded, and they left 20 minutes into her explosion. She continued to explode for 40.
What does that mean?
I want you to imagine an ear-cracking scream. I want you to imagine toys thrown. I want you to imagine tears. I want you to imagine beet red. And there is nothing you can do about it.
I want you to imagine an appropriate reaction for being set on fire.
Yeah.
And it's just that at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, because you can't reason with a child.
No.
You can't tell them, oh, there's actually nothing wrong here.
Nope.
Yes.
They just have their feelings and they are expressing them.
Yep. And you, at a certain point, you have to kind of leave them and go, all right, well, you're just going to do that now.
Yeah.
And that's what, and you let them do it.
Candles eventually burn out.
Yes. And what happened with Everly was we just kind of let her, and she fell asleep on her bed. Because she was throwing stuff and, hitting things on her bed or whatever. And it's happened a couple of times. And every single time it happens, grandparents happen to be around. So therefore, A, they're judging you. B, they're coming up and trying to help. And you're telling them to back the F off. And then they're mad at you afterwards. Mm-hmm. And it's all a mess and a disaster. So yes, it's what Steve is going through is true and will continue into their 3s.
Terrible
Jesse,
3s.
What's a winless streak?
Oh, you want to go back to that?
No.
You
don't get to put us back on track.
My follow-up thing was going to be, do they ever do that thing where they cry so much that they start like barfing?
Yes.
I remember that as a kid.
I don't think mine have ever done that, but they've come close.
Yeah.
Where they go,
not like physically like
the cough barf?
No. But like, the cough. Yeah.
Picture Jim Carrey in The Mask when he's pretending to die.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jesse.
So-
What's a winning streak and what's a losing streak?
The Leafs, they lost 8 in a row, and they were getting close to record-breaking territory. But there's 3 different records that you can look at and say, this is the official record of the losing streak.
Got it.
1, on the NHL records page, this is where we will go. They have longest winless streak.
Why do they have this?
So this is from...
Why do they keep track of this?
They have all the records. So Toronto Maple Leafs, longest winless streak. This is 1. You can take this one as the record if you want to say this is the record. 15.
That's a long time.
In 1987-88, that season, they went 15 straight games without a win. But this streak of 15 includes ties.
Right.
Because this is the era with ties.
Right.
So that's one thing that you could look at and say, 15 is the record. The second one is the 14-15 season. That is number 4 on the winless streak. That's 11 games. But in the 14-15 season, there's no ties anymore.
Right.
So you can say that is truly winless because they lost all those games in either shootout, overtime, or in regulation. Or you go to losing streaks on NHL records.
Why do they have this?
The record could also be considered 10 because that is consecutive losses.
Like without a point.
Without anything. They just lost these games.
And they won the cup that year.
This is 66-67. Toronto lost 10 straight games. They were truly L's on the board. So, as I was looking at all this, I was like, what's the actual record that they're trying to break?
So to me,
Trying to break.
the points don't matter. And the reason I say the points don't matter, Jesse, is because, yeah, sure, they matter in the standings, but to me, they don't matter on a losing streak. To me, an overtime loss is a loss. And I've always said there should be no OTL point. That, like, I don't know why a league full of owners who are such hardcore capitalists that they hate socialism want socialism points. You don't get points for losing in a real league, right? So to me, a winless streak is the same as a loss, but I understand the distinction because people will call it a winless streak because they differentiate an OTL versus an L because you do get a point.
Yes.
To them, I say, you're splitting hairs. That's ridiculous. Nobody gives a shit about overtime loss points in a losing streak scenario. I know you care in the overall thing, but
It's pretty rare that you go, yes.
To me, a losing streak is a losing streak is a losing streak.
David Alter, who was sitting next to me in the press box, agrees with your philosophy.
Because he's the man.
So he says 11 is the record in the 14-15 season because the 3 seasons above that, the 66-67, that's also 11, the 85-86, and the 87-88, the 11 streak, 13 streak, and 15 streak also featured ties.
Right.
So the true record is the 11.
Yes.
Because those are all L's. Whether it's overtime or shootout, those are just, they're losses. Like, let's stop giving them points. They're losses.
Yep.
But the other ones, because they featured ties, we can't count them in the losing streak.
I agree.
So 11, the 14-15 season should be the all-time consecutive losses record for the league.
It's in the name, consecutive loss. Now, if you have, I understand that a winless streak can exist in a tie scenario, right?
And that's winless.
Yes.
They did not win, which is a different distinction.
Not a losing streak.
But it's not a losing
And the NHL does differentiate that, do they not?
That's why they have the 2 different categories. The one I have up is longest winless streak, where they keep the tie ones, and then they have the longest losing streak. But my problem with the NHL here is they don't count the OTLs and the shootouts in this category. As you'll see, the 14-15 season, the 11, which should be the record, doesn't make the NHL record book. And neither would this current losing streak by the Leafs. It would not make this list of longest losing streaks. As you can see, it's not there.
Why not?
Because it features OTLs and shootout losses that the NHL does not count as losses.
Why can't they be smart about fucking anything? These guys?
So
surely this will be the only thing we discuss today that the NHL does that doesn't make any sense.
So this current streak and the 14-15 one that I think we've now kind of concluded that should be the record is not considered the longest losing streak by definition for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
What does the L in OTL or SOL stand for? Loss! Isn't that not the beginning and end of it?
It's length, as in the game went longer. You see?
Overtime length game.
Right. Yeah. It's just time distinction.
Looking at all those, it upsets me that the NHL keeps this wonky
Jesse?
record book.
You're wrong about 4 goals not being a hat trick. You're wrong about the whatever your thing was with hitting for the cycle. There was something about hitting for the cycle that you made a distinction point on once, and
I use the home run when you go around 4 bases to add to my argument about the 4 goals in the game not being a hat trick.
Wrong about that. This one, you're 100% on the mark. Yeah,
losing streak.
Yeah, it's a losing streak. Did you fucking lose?
Lost.
Yes. Yeah.
They lost 8 straight.
And by the way, the top scorer all time in Coyotes history was a Jet. So, it's just it's nice. Great. Yeah. Top scoring Jet of all time was a Thrasher. Isn't that great? We love so that. Great. Isn't that cool? That's the coolest. Anyway. Oh, look at that. It's Steve Dangle's face and it's cleaned up, but I don't know that it was done quite to the precision that a Harry's razor might have done for you.
Well, here's where I struggle at.
Give it to me.
It was done by a Baba. But, in between visiting the Baba, someone's got to take care of this face.
That's true.
Yep.
And if I don't have a Harry's razor, how am I going to do that?
And listen, there are angles on your face. And Harry's is substantial. You're used to these plastic razors that have no weight to them. Harry's Plus is barbershop quality. These drugstore blades, they clog and blah. No, you don't need that.
No.
Harry's is heavy and substantial, and it is engineered in Germany. Okay, made in Germany to make sure that every contour of your face is nice and clean afterwards, but just only the ones you want because you want to keep your beard. Like Steve was looking at himself on last show, Jesse, remember? He was like, I'm never not having a beard again.
Never. Yes. Babyface Steve.
Horrible.
It wasn't the greatest to look at.
Wasn't.
It's Harry's most advanced razor ever, and it's still cheaper than Gillette Fusion Mach 5. That's so crazy. So, for a limited time, our listeners can get a Harry's Plus trial set for $10 at harrys.com/SDP. This set includes an all-new Harry's razor plus a refined 1-blade cartridge, 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just go to harrys.com/SDP, claim this offer, and after you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please say it was the SDP. Let's talk about the rest of the Leaf thing, because this is big, and I want to start with
the win.
Mark Stone.
Oh.
Mark Stone, when the Golden Knights rolled into Toronto and beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, he made the comment everybody laughed about, well, I don't think Mitch isn't clutch. I think that's a Toronto thing.
Got it.
Okay, funny joke. Also probably a little true. And he also said after they won that game that the guys in the dressing room were not going to let Mitch lose that game. We're not going to let Mitch lose this game. Nobody had taken a pot shot at Mitch. Maybe the fans had on Twitter, but nobody run at Mitch's head. It was, Mitch, we love you. You are a teammate here. You're protected here. You're safe here. We are not going to let you lose this fucking game in Toronto.
This season's going to have ups. It's going to have downs. We're going to win. We're going to lose. We're not losing tonight.
I am going to quote you, Lance Hornby, but Jesse was there. Yeah, one of the scary Toronto media guys.
Lance, I've met and worked with Lance many times. Couldn't tell you what his voice sounds like.
My Halloween costume this year is going to be Toronto media. It's the spookiest of all.
Lance, he's just sort of a nice man.
Maybe I'll just be a sandwich board of all the big tough NHLers who are afraid to play here. Lance, this is a quote from February 28th. Berube believes he's doing the needed prep work during this skid, but adds, I can show tape, go over things, and there's a certain way to play the game, but I can't give them this, points at heart, or this, points at head. They have to come with that. It has to be on them.
Yep.
And if that doesn't sum up what happened last night, I don't know what does. Now, this has been a clear feature of the Core 4 era, which truly, thankfully, mercifully, this season is, to me, the end of the Core 4. It's still happening.
Many different GMs, under many different coaches.
They have had this mindset.
It's baked into the pie.
Now, I tweeted it between the second and the third period after the Gudas hit, and we'll show the Gudas hit. We'll get to that.
Sure.
But I said, I think we're all interested to see if the Leafs respond in the third period, and I went on to say that The problem is, the question is always if. That has been a feature of this entire... Nobody can say that they didn't see this. Anybody that grew up in our generation who saw Tucker and Domi and Roberts knows what would have happened if somebody went at Sundin like
Tucker
that.
tried to get in a fight in a game he wasn't dressed for. Like...
He went to a bench and started throwing punches.
Yes. He's insane. He's an insane person. You need those people. You know, there's been a talk about like snot and truculence and the Leafs got big and blah, blah, blah. They did get big.
Mm-hmm.
They did. They didn't get psychos.
They didn't get psychos.
Last night they dressed one, played him less than 4 minutes.
The Leafs had two guys on the ice last night who have been here longer than Auston Matthews. And they did nothing. And then they tried to hit their way
Nylander.
out of the game in the third, and then tried to talk their way out of it once the game was over. And I think that is despicable. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
All right. Now let's set this up.
Well,
and
why, Adam, why would the media do that?
Why would the media
Why
do
wouldn't
that?
the media stick up for him in that moment? And why wouldn't the fans stick up for Auston in that moment? Because it's their fault.
It is the
It's
fans'
everyone
fault.
except the players.
Yep. Now let's talk about where the game was, gentlemen. Where was the game?
Toronto.
No, sorry.
Oh, they were getting their shit rocked, but their captain brought them within one.
They were getting their shit rocked.
What did you mean by the question?
Well, where the game was in terms of who was in control.
Oh, okay.
The Ducks murdered the Leafs in the first period. Shots were either 19-7 or 20-7. I never know because they keep changing the number.
Mm-hmm.
It was miraculously only 2-1 Ducks after one. It could have been 4-1 on like Cutter Gauthier goals alone.
Now,
3-1 at the beginning of the second.
and with 15 minutes left in the second period, I just want to say 21-9 were the shots in the Ducks' favor.
Yuck. But Leafs get a power play.
Yep.
And who scores a power play goal for the first time in forever? Auston.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't got a power play goal in so long. Here's how miserable it's been for him. Because he had on this goalless drought, goalless? Can I say goalless or
power play goal?
Games without a goal.
Games without a goal. This game's
But he
without
had
a
some
goal
overtime.
streak.
He had some shootout goals.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
This goalless drought, over 50 shots, over half a dozen hit posts. He was getting his opportunity. Damn puck wouldn't go in. Forget his goalless streak in the NHL. It goes back to he hadn't scored a goal in a hockey game since Team USA played Germany at the Olympics. And if you really want to get into it, Franz Reb was the goalie for Germany that game.
Wow.
So if you want to say his last goal against a goalie who has played in the NHL ever, especially this season, was in Team USA's Olympic opener against Latvia.
Did he only had 2 goals in the Olympics?
3.
Oh, 3.
Well, I think it was 3. He had a goal against Latvia. He had 2 versus Germany.
Oh, okay.
He had a few assists.
Right.
I don't know all the stats. I had to look all this up yesterday because I was like, did he score against Canada? No. Okay. Did he score against Sweden? No. Did he score? Oh my God. He scored against Germany. Oh, but it wasn't Grubauer. Okay. So let's keep going. And had to go all the way back to Latvia, who played Merzlik and Zan Silovs in the same game. Not saying this to rip on him. It's been a tough slog, and he finally scores. And it's finally on the power play. And despite the fact that your team has played like garbage tonight, you're within 1 and the fans cheered.
Yep.
Everyone's happy. And he's on the verge. He's on the precipice. He's got a golden chance to tie the game. And what happens?
Jesse, can you bring up the video portion of this? So let's have a look at this. Auston Matthews, he is completely uncovered. That looks like the Ducks are making the Leafs defensive zone coverage look good here.
I tell you what, forget Auston. Don't look at Auston. Don't look at Radko. Look at 88 the whole time.
Well, hold on to that.
Yeah, let's do.
No, let's look at the Auston.
I'm going to do the
Okay,
hit
fine.
one first.
Fine.
Where's just the hit, so Steve can't go off on tangent.
Yeah, because I have that zoomed in. So
Fine.
don't worry.
Good. Fine.
Well, it's better to. I'll show the full thing so you
Yeah.
can see how directly he's looking at it. But yeah, this is the hit. Just for anybody who needs to see it.
Knee.
In stop motion. Oh,
Need.
hold on. There we go.
It's one of the
couple different
worst
angles.
intentional knees I've seen in a long time. Look at that bull.
Yep.
Then we'll get the other angle here. So Auston, yeah, just all by himself by the face-off dot. And Gudas comes over. He knows what he's doing. He puts his knee out right into Auston. Oh, right into Austin's knee.
This should be used in Department of Player Safety videos going forward for what a knee is. What a kneeing incident is. It's so damn bad, dude. Look at that.
This one, you
bullshit.
can really see the crunch of Austin's leg.
No, because Auston is about to blow by Gudas, who can't do his job. I was amazed that my mentions were full last night of Ducks fans going, I hope he's suspended 10 games.
I think
'Cause they
Ducks
don't-
fans are done with him because he's not good anymore.
Which is
That's
crazy.
the thing is he used to be effective. Like he used to be a very effective defenseman. I don't think he is anymore.
Damn. Well, tonight I learned that all Ducks fans are Canadian because Ducks fans or Canadian fans, just the pressure. Remember all that baby bullshit that he pulled? Oh, the pressure.
Yeah, I think I took solace in knowing that Ducks fans themselves don't even like Gudas.
Yeah.
I saw Annie OD made a TikTok too, being like, "Hey, can we just get Gudas off our team now? This is enough." Like,
I kind of hope
not useful.
Ducks fans' reaction make me hope he's not suspended.
So that he keeps playing there.
I want him to play.
Yeah, the biggest
I want him to
punishment
play.
is the amount of ice time he gets.
Yeah, having to play Gudas like 25 minutes a night.
Oh,
What
yeah,
if
that should be the
instead of
I tell you what, listen, he did a shitty job as GM, but John Ferguson Jr. had one of the best lines of all time. We referenced it earlier when Cam Jansen hit Thomas Caberlet, and then Darcy Tucker lost his mind because he wasn't dressed, and neither was Belak.
Yep.
John Ferguson Jr. was asked about the suspension to Cam Jansen, and he's like, well, the real punishment would be playing him 20 minutes a night.
Which is a great line.
Great line.
Great line.
Yeah, no, Radko Gudas should be sentenced to have to play 30 minutes a night for the next 10 games. That would be better than suspending him.
100%.
Now,
Yeah.
it's important to note where we're going with this. Who is on the ice?
Uh-huh.
Who is on the ice? There's four. Brandon Carlo,
Uh-huh.
Morgan Riley, best defense pair in the league.
You bet.
William Nylander, who made the pass to Auston.
He did.
Easton Cowan, 19, 20 years old?
20.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just run this down for you real quick, but I want to ask you guys just very quickly, what did you see in the immediate aftermath of those two guys? Because I don't want you to show me, because I've got it here. Somebody on Twitter was actually able to isolate it. But explain to somebody that never saw this game what you saw from the four men on the ice immediately following this hit.
Radko Gudas need Auston Matthews. Matthews goes down in a heap, and someone makes a beeline to Gudas, and it is an official to break up a fight that never came. None of the Leafs lifted a finger. None of the Leafs did a thing. Willie raised his hand to call a penalty. That's it.
Jesse,
Yeah.
you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And you felt the reaction in the arena, which we could hear on TV, by the way. It sounded like it was like an oh, and it went silent.
Yeah, and then people started booing and all that stuff. But yeah, it was people realized like, oh, Austin's down, he's hurt.
What did you see? How would you describe it to somebody? I know Steve described it. I would like to hear your description. You were there.
No, yeah, so very similar. Like he went down and was like, oh, and then you're like, somebody do something.
Something's about to happen.
Somebody do something, and then nothing kind of happened, and he just limped off, and you're like, oh, he's done. He's done, and this is over.
Now, what I'm about to show you and what Jesse's going to bring up, because I'm going to do this before we get to the quotes, Jesse.
Sure.
Actually, no, I'm not. We're going to read the quotes first, then we're going to go to this, okay?
Oh,
This will work better. I'm going to show you why we're angry. I want to show you why Leaf fans are pissed. Leaf fans who grew up with, the Gen Xers grew up with, Wendell Clark. Glenn Anderson was a tough guy.
Doug Gilmour.
Doug Gilmour was tough as nails. Sundin was tough. And then our generation really grew up with Tucker, Roberts, Domi. Corson was a fucking bastard, man. He was so tough. And
Yuskevich.
If anybody had done this to Mats or McGillney, they would have had one of those guys to answer to. I'm going to give you Morgan Riley, assistant captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to give you his quote, according to Jesse Blake of SDPN Sports.
We're going to play it.
Oh, play it.
Here's Morgan, because it's right off the top, so it's easy. Here's Morgan postgame.
Review of the hit on Auston.
Yeah, I didn't have a good a view of it just because the puck was going the other way, but it's on me for not responding earlier to Gudas being there. Obviously, it's a dirty hit. I didn't understand how bad he got him in the moment, but I take full responsibility for not being the first one in there or being in there quicker to respond. That being said, I thought our group played well in the third. And
all right, let's stop it there.
Now, you don't want to hear him?
No, I don't give a shit.
Team? Yeah.
Reaction. No reaction.
Oh.
Okay.
No reaction.
Okay. Adams, he's got this all mapped out.
And I'm sorry I'm doing this.
No.
I want no reaction to this.
No. Conduct us.
Let's, Jesse, do you have Willie's?
Willie? Yeah, give me a second.
Because I can read it out.
Adam,
let's hear from the guy.
This is your orchestra. I'm just listening.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
They've lost a long time. What was your view of the hit and just seeing him down like that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see like the hit. I know I passed the puck to him, but I didn't really see what happened. I didn't know the severity of it, and then should have probably gotten in there. But I mean, in the situation at the time, I didn't really understand until like 15 seconds later there was more than what I thought it was, and I mean, yeah, I should have jumped in there.
Okay, pause.
Yep.
Now, let me say this. Both of them have the exact same answer, which means they talk to PR. That's my belief. Mm-hmm. Now, hold on.
I love when you're like this.
When you play hockey and your captain and best player goes down, if your captain's not your best player, maybe this is a little different. But when your best player goes down, like that, at the hands of a defenseman who has a reputation,
I'll go a step further. Any of them. Anyone goes down.
If anyone goes down, but let's specifically say captain.
But especially
the captain, right?
Especially you, but especially Bart.
Exactly.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if the hit's clean. Mm-hmm. I remember specifically Nick Foligno when he was here in Toronto for that brief snapshot during COVID. John Tavares went down to an accidental, as it turned out, knee to the head by Corey Perry of the Montreal Canadiens. Yep. Changed the whole series eventually. Initially, because it was Corey Perry, everybody thought, well, that has to be intentional. And turns out it was the one time Corey Perry grievously injured somebody, and it wasn't. That's like the one time. But Foligno, not knowing that, and not being on the ice at the time, still went out there and said, we're going to fight anyway.
And who cares? Who cares?
Who cares? That's the bare minimum, is your guy's down, confetti gloves, right?
It's always amazing. Like sometimes because of trades, every once in a while, like a hockey player joins the Leafs and you're like, oh, that's how everyone else does it. And that's sort of how it felt when Nick Foligno fought Corey Perry. Oh, there's a hockey player here.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And so, Steve, you want to talk about what these guys saw? This is where I love Toronto Maple Leafs fans, because you don't have to do it yourself. They'll do it for you. I want to bring up Holly Peeman, or Holly Heitman. It says Holly Peeman.
Holly Peeman?
Well, I told you I was dyslexic. Holly Heitman, somebody that came up on my Twitter. Let's bring up what each player didn't see. Jesse Blake, whenever you're ready to go.
Yeah,
it's okay. 2 seconds.
There
are 2 slides for each player. There's Auston down. There's Willie with his hand up. So Willie, we can confirm, saw and knew the severity because his hand was up. Mm-hmm. So William Nylander knows in this scenario.
Yep.
Okay, so that's lie number 1. Let's go number 2. Morgan Riley. oh, the puck went by me, it was going the other way. No, it didn't, Mo. No, it didn't. And I'm sorry, aren't you the same assistant captain who didn't come out after Game 7 to talk to the media? At what point, gentlemen, at what point do we just say, you two have been here longer than Auston has?
Yeah.
You're not going to be here anymore. And I look at, Jesse, I'm going to read from your quotes, unless you want to bring up Berube yourself.
I can do that, yeah.
Bring up Berube. Bro, let's cue this up. I am not a fan of the way Craig Berube coaches this team.
No.
But I am a fan of Craig Berube's mentality.
Oh, no one will admit to it. No one admitted to it after the game. There's no explanation for how the Leafs played in the first 40 minutes versus the third period, other than someone, my assumption is Craig Berube, went in there and peeled the paint off the wall. There's no explanation. They were not a different team.
And we asked him afterwards, or somebody asked him, hey, what happened in the second intermission? He's like, I'm not going to tell you guys that. That's going to stay in the room.
Which means
he yelled at them.
I think he flipped tables and shit. Like, because in particular, two guys who were on the ice were completely different players for the rest of the game. William Nylander, that's the closest. I thought he was going to fight. Saw him lay hits. I thought he was going to fight. And Easton Cowan being the only one of the four to fight.
Oh, we'll get to
ought
that.
to be ashamed of yourselves. But I think the four players who were on the ice walked into that locker room and were thoroughly humiliated by the coaching staff. That's what I think happened. They won't admit to it, but I think that's what happened.
Go ahead, Jess.
Of the hit on Auston and
yeah, that's a dirty play. League's going to obviously look at it and see what the suspension will be or whatever happens.
Is there any good explanation on your part for no one responding to that physically?
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, we should have had four guys in there doing something about it, but it didn't happen then. But I thought they responded in the third. It was, a good response there, but we all would have liked everybody to get in there right away.
Any update on this?
Now, I'm not surprised by that. And by the way, he made a comment similar to that in the playoffs last year with Anthony Stolarz when Sam Bennett came across the crease, kneed Anthony Stolarz in the head, and he said, in my day,
elbowed him.
Elbowed him. Sorry. In my day, everybody would have been all over him.
Yep.
Which is the first sign of trouble for me. Now, as I told you, both of these players started with the Leafs before Matthews did. In Riley's case, several seasons before. Riley wears an assistant captain. And I mentioned that he didn't come out and speak to the media after one of the Game 7 losses. I remember being red hot about that. If you're a Leaf fan, if you're not a Leaf fan, actually, let me start with you. We have seen this year after year, time after time, playoff after playoff. And
With coach after coach.
And where I get annoyed is there are fans who are like, hey, look at this stat card. You're clearly dumb. No, I'm not.
These things show up on the stat card.
Well, sure. But
They
you know
do.
what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
but over a full season, it's not a full season. It's a playoff series. Now, the Leafs are not going to the playoffs this year. This was not a playoff game. But I would argue it's the most consequential game of their season and therefore the closest thing they're going to get.
Yep.
And your captain is down like that. You don't worry about whether or not it was a severe enough hit for you to warrant action. You kill first and you find out later. And kill is it's a term. It's not actually kill.
The Panthers don't wait.
Now,
They don't wait, and full credit to them.
And before you get into that, last angle just to show is the full screen angle of the actual pass, just so you can see how the events unfolded with Willie and Auston and Carlo and Riley.
Sick coverage there, Radko. Atta boy.
So Willie's here. He throws this pass, and you can see truly how much he is watching his pass go to Auston and the entire play. So Auston receives that pass. Willie's still looking, and you know that because as soon as Radko hits Auston in the knee, he's still looking, and then the arm goes up here by Willie.
Willie.
There's
Brother.
and he said 15 seconds later?
There's
Are you fucking
no
kidding me?
moment in this sequence where his head is not looking at where he passed the puck and where Auston gets hit. Cowan as well here on this play. I don't know if he deserves criticism for not responding directly to Gudas. He goes to play the puck, which isn't great. You'll see if you can just look at this.
No, I'm looking.
On the criticism-o-meter of the other four guys on the ice, I will give him the least criticism.
Totally.
But Jesse,
Cowan's waiting for the pass.
I think it's an answer that he will now know the answer. It's a question he will now know the answer to from now on whenever it happens again. And he reacted well in the third.
He did learn. Yes.
He did learn.
But in this play, he's the closest to this whole thing. So I think that's worth pointing out. He's right there. He sees it go down and he turns up to go get the puck, which isn't the right thing to do. And then as the play is going the other way, you see Carlo and Riley looking at the play and Auston going down. And there is no immediacy there by these two players who were watching the play, because you can see them looking at it, run over to Radko, who's just on the ice here, probably smiling at his work that he's done.
Now, if you go back a sec, to roughly when the hit happened, I do think it's interesting that, in the immediate aftermath, Matthews is down, but Gudas is also down. You can make the assumption that he's hurt. Who's the other guy? Number 2.
Jackson Lacombe.
That's Jackson Lacombe.
Yeah.
Who did Easton Cowan fight later that game?
Jackson Lacombe.
Jackson Lacombe.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that was an accident.
Now, I want to say this. So I've already come after Nylander and Matthew or Riley a little bit. We all have. I also want to mention that Brandon Carlo is 6'5" and 227 pounds, and
he's a plant. You'll have to convince me he's not. The Bruins. Why else would you retain on a guy for multiple years and trade him in division? Because you know exactly what he is. He's a plant. The Bruins knew what they were doing.
Morgan and Willie might be great people. In fact, I'm convinced they are. They might be kind people.
That's the problem.
But I think that they showed their commitment on this. You want to talk about commitment to the crest, commitment to your teammates. You can say anything that you want.
Yeah.
The reality of this scenario is both of you didn't want to get mixed up because it was Radko Gudas. Riley, when he went after Ridley Grigg, Riley knew that A, Grigg wasn't looking, and B, the game was over. So he had protection. But, with 16, 17 games to go, and somewhere on the way, I'd rather not have reconstructive surgery on my nose or get some teeth put back in my skull. So I'm not going to mix it up with Radko Gudas, who's a legitimate crazy person. These guys...
Is he known as a great fighter?
He doesn't fight. He just runs.
He got Supermaned by Kevin Bieksa. I can't really think about... I know he'll go. I know he's not afraid, but I didn't know he had that kind of reputation.
He's kind of crazy. Okay. And maybe you're not worried about now. Maybe you're worried about March 30th when they play again and him taking a cheap shot.
Bullshit.
Which he will.
Bullshit. Oh, we'll get to that.
We will.
We'll get to that.
Here's the problem.
There shouldn't be a hockey game.
You want to know why Leaf fans are so mad? We've watched this and we've howled about this for more than half a decade. Yeah. The first part of the Matthews, Nylander, Marner era, we were okay with them being a little bit soft because we thought they'd grow into it. Yeah. And not just those three guys, but the rest of the team.
Well, they're kids.
We thought they'd get tougher. We thought they'd find tougher guys to play with them, tough guys with skill. Like everybody wants a Gary Roberts and a Darcy Tucker, right? Those would be great archetype players the Leafs should have targeted in the Dubas era, okay? There are no dogs on this team. No. There is no crazy on this team unless Michael Pezzetta's in the lineup.
Playing less than 4 minutes.
These are just nice guys who want to play a goal-scoring contest. And they, to quote Jeff O'Neill, who had a couple of zingers last night that I thought were very true, he said these guys are the kind of guys that just want to look up at the scoreboard and go, how many more can I get? And you know what he said about the third period? And I thought this was amazing. I thought it was a really, really good point by a former NHLer. This is why most former NHLers on panels are kind of useless. Some of them, though, are really good. And Jeff's one of them. And what Jeff said was, the Leafs came out in the third period. Everybody's talking about how well they responded. He said, they just decided to play NHL hockey in the third.
Yep.
He's like, that's not them responding. That's them playing the way the rest of the league plays.
Yep. Dude, oh man, are the Leafs really this bad? And what's my answer been? Literally no one is this bad, including the Leafs. They're not trying. If you want you couldn't get more concrete evidence than you got last night. There was the first 40 minutes. There was the third period. One of them was an NHL team. Ducks should be embarrassed they lost that game.
And let me say this, guys. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that too.
Oh, yeah.
Let me talk about this, guys, just for a quick second. Willie out there throwing hits and mixing it up with guys. We saw the Kreider cross-check on Calle Garncroak to the face, 2-minute penalty.
And Kreider was the first one in the third period to ask for a fight. You ought to be ashamed.
This is so effing embarrassing. It reminds me of the Seattle game. It reminds me of a Boston game a couple of years back where they just got filled and Bertuzzi's laughing on the bench because Marchand's chirping the bench and Bertuzzi forgot what team he played for.
Yep. Stolarz was never wrong about this team. Never, not once.
I have said this before, and I'll say it again. The best way Auston Matthews can show leadership within this organization is in the boardroom. You sit down with Keith Pelly, because Keith will be here. We don't know if Brad and Craig will, but we know Keith will be. And you say, listen, and you have your agent there. And you say, listen, these guys are my friends. They're not committed to me. This general manager ain't it. This coach ain't it. That's how you show leadership. You take control of the franchise. Mm-hmm. Morgan Rielly, to me, is already on the way out. William Nylander, after last night, I'm like, man, he's a brilliant scorer.
Incredible hockey player. Incredible hockey.
He will just never be what he was in the third period. What William Nylander needs to be in order to be truly, truly great is just a little bit of what he was in the third period. A little bit of physical pushback. And he did. A little bit of, yeah, I give a shit and I'm pissed off.
You don't need to be a physical force. You don't. But like part of Nikita Kucherov's greatness is, if you get within Saturn's rings, right? If you get within that radius, you're going to get an elbow in the teeth. He's going to permanently disfigure you because he's fucking nuts. That's what you need in this league.
Malkin's the same. Look at what he just did. Do you think if the Penguins make the playoffs, I know Malkin just took a 5-game suspension, gentlemen, which I don't even think Gudas is going to get 5. But if Malkin just took a 5-game suspension, do you think anyone's going to take liberties with getting Malkin if they make the playoffs? After that swinging of the stick?
I mean, you can if you want. He's going to fuck you up.
And he'll take the suspension.
Yeah, because that's something that he learned a long time ago. Or I don't even really think he needed to be taught it, to be honest. But superstars of Malkin's age realized, I'm going up against Darian Hatcher every night, and the league isn't going to save me. Sidney Crosby, right? I'm going up against Darian Hatcher, and I got the vets on the team calling me a whiner to the refs. My own teammates calling me a whiner to the refs. I got to stick up for myself. And that's why, especially early in his career, Crosby just picked guys to fight. Crosby's fought like 5 or 6 times in his NHL career. And every time he does, you're like, what the you have to make room for yourself. You have to.
Now,
and you have to make room for your teammates.
Tage Thompson, if you guys remember, lit up the Sabres this summer.
Yep.
When this happened to him last year, because remember what happened? Tell everybody what happened.
He got, I want to say it was headshotted. I don't remember
Jersey,
by
I'm
who.
Pretty sure.
Stefan Nason?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
And what he did, and this is good leadership, and I think this,
and the
to me,
Devils are soft.
This
and
to me,
and you got punked by them.
Devils.
You got punked by them.
This had a bigger, to me, This had more to do with the Sabres turnaround than Kevin Adams getting fired, because he went on the podcast and they asked him about it, and you could see the rage building in him. But he kind of holds back and goes, yeah, I was surprised nobody stuck up for me. Mm-hmm. And in NHL terms, as we all know, that's a lot.
That's a 10-alarm fire. That's so crazy that your best player said that.
You can't teach passion. You can't teach fire. You can't teach clutch. You can't teach sticking up for a teammate. And I am singling out Rielly and Nylander because they've been here longer. Carlo knows better. He's a Bruin.
I regret the day you ever darkened our doorstep. I hope they trade him the moment the season is done.
And Cowan, I'm willing to accept the fact that in the third period, he stepped up and fought Lacombe.
That's so humiliating.
And go, okay, you learned the lesson. Gentlemen, this era, this core four, whatever's left of it, is over.
Wow.
And this needs to be over. This needs to be done. Here's the problem we have, and Frank Corrado outlined this perfectly post-game. He said, depending upon the knee injury, remember Barkov went down with a knee injury in training camp. Matthews might not be available till Christmas. And he's like, and then you got to find out what kind of player you have, because we don't know if this slows him down even more. He's had a lot of injuries, and you got a year and a half left on the deal. And you've just started the season 3 months potentially without him. Now, we don't know what the health situation is. We know he's getting an MRI today. But in the worst case scenario of worst case scenarios, this would be it.
I'm optimistic. The smart thing to do, even if you get good news today, is to probably shut him down.
He's not playing again this year.
Yeah, no. The smart thing to do is shut him down. But I'm optimistic for the outcome.
Jesse, do you get the sense that there was legitimate regret from Riley or Nylander last night?
No, I don't think they have it in them. Like the response of people being like so upset about people not responding in the moment. I wasn't as upset because I wasn't surprised. And it's Steve.
No one was. Right? Isn't it upsetting?
Oh, totally, totally. But like Steve, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this because I don't think you've had enough time to go off here on these guys, because I saw that and I'm like, oh, Riley didn't step in and do anything. We know for the 13 years he's been here, he is soft and he's not going to mix up anything. William Nylander does not have that in his body. Brandon Carlo is a soft-spoken person, and it might as well be like a little teddy bear that you can hug on the ice. Like, he's never going to mix up in anything. And then there's Easton Cowan out there. I'm not surprised the Leafs don't have it in them. They've never had it in this era. They are not these guys. They can't win this way. They will never be these guys, and it is time to move on. So I saw this, and I'm like, yeah, of course they didn't stand up for Auston Matthews. Yeah. They've never done that, and they don't have that ability.
What's one of my number one pet peeves? I hate when players who aren't in the playoffs say, I don't watch the playoffs. This is your craft. This is what you do. And if you're not willing to stick up for Auston Matthews or take his name out of it, your best player, or take that out of it, your captain, or take that out of it, your teammate. If you're not willing to do that, you simply do not have the facilities to be a winner in the National Hockey League. There's no yelling. There's no screaming. I'm sure that's going to come out of me at some point. It's the stone cold truth.
And isn't that something we've known about Willie, Riley, and Auston and Mitch during his time here?
When he was here,
that they don't have it in them to win.
Yeah,
and
but
all they've done is just like, hey, try again.
But
try again.
When we say it, we're mean, I guess. How come?
Oh, we're just a loud podcast that makes it hard for people to play here.
With asinine opinions. How come? When the games are less violent in the regular season, they succeed. And when it's literally a different sport in the playoffs, they wilt. Every single time. There's a graphic going around so they've played 11 playoff series in the Matthews era. They've lost 9 of them. In those 9 series, they have been leading each and every one of them.
The one I sent the other day.
Yes.
Like 2 days ago.
So if you could actually bring that up.
You want me to show it? Yeah.
Yes. They wilt. And they wilt in particular in games 5, 6, and 7. And what do we know about games 5, 6, and 7? There are no rules. There's no rules. What do you got to do to get called in those games besides the evil act of putting a puck over the glass in your own zone? That they don't have the facilities for the kind of hockey you need to play to win. Now, and this is part of, you could even get into an Olympic conversation. We won the Olympics. That means we're winners, or anyone who wins at the Olympics. What on earth are you talking about? Olympic hockey is not even close to the same sport as
playoff hockey.
Stanley Cup playoff hockey.
Not.
Stanley Cup playoff hockey is a war zone. It's not the Olympics. It's not even the Four Nation Face-Off, which was closer to Stanley Cup playoff hockey. You need a certain screw loose and a certain... Not every team that's won in recent memory has been full of psychos, but they've been full of people who aren't willing to put up with a psycho shit, right? Like I think of Colorado, I think of Tampa. Vegas were just a bunch of bullies. The Panthers are not well in the head. They aren't. So Jesse, can you bring this up?
Yeah, so I forget if it was Leafs Reddit or just on Twitter. Shout out whoever put this together. It's an incredible graphic of all of the times during the Core Four that the Leafs had the opportunity to close out a playoff series, and they were up either in the game or in the series, or both.
No, they were up in each and every one of these series. So the screenshot for the Capitals...
But I meant because in the Montreal one, they're tied in that game.
Right.
But they're up in every series. And the Columbus one, they're up in the game, but not in the series.
Right.
That's why I said series or game.
So they were up 2-1 in the series against Washington and 1-0 with 7:10 to go in the third of Game 6. Washington would tie it and then beat them in overtime. Kapanen scored the sexiest goal of his entire frigging career in Game 7 of 2018. Short-handed. Leafs blew that. I think they ended up losing 7-4. They were up 3-2 in the series and 1-0 in the game against Boston in friggin' 2019. Columbus, they were up 3-0 in Game 3 of a 5-game series. Nick Robertson scored the third goal. I remember it like it was yesterday. They blew that game and lost the series. They were up 3-1 in the series against Montreal, down 3-0 in the game. They managed to tie it. Thank you, Alex Galchenyuk. Next year against Tampa, they're up in Game 6. They lose Game 6 and they lose the series. 2024 against Boston, same thing. 2023 against Florida, same thing. And 2025 against Florida, you're up 3-1 with a 2-0 series lead. Get out of my face.
And someone's surprised that these people on the screen didn't stand up for Auston. They don't have anything.
So is it us that make it hard for them?
Yeah.
Or is it them that make it hard for us?
Yeah.
And people get angry. And you look at the secondary market on tickets. People are so mad at this team. You can get $300 tickets for $75. And by the way, who the fuck would go to this?
I got offered tickets to yesterday more than once, and I was like, no, I want to enjoy my birthday. Like, what
I don't blame it. By the way, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sorry I didn't lead with that.
That was great. Yeah, I screamed so hard that I felt it behind my eyes. So that was nice. And, you thought the team would be better without Marner. Well, he was part of all those series. What I was always an advocate for was, listen, the Core 4 era doesn't have to be him. It ain't it. And 3 of the biggest pieces of that are still there. One of them was laying broken on the ice. So Auston gets a pass. Willie, Riley, Carlo, and Cowan. And only one of them was embarrassed enough to fight. And it was the kid. He's got a future.
Given the events of last night's Leaf game, it sure would have been nice to have a player that plays like the Tacoma plays. The I-Force Tacoma technology. Imagine 6,400 pounds of towing capacity. Imagine what that could do to Radko Gudas.
Oh, that's no guff.
That's no guff. That's right. Now, its available panoramic multi-terrain view monitor gives you live under-floor views in case you have to navigate tough terrain like the driveway or potentially a cottage road where, there's rocks and stuff sticking out, whatever. Mm-hmm. When it's time to load up, the available power liftgate makes loading your gear in a cinch. Experience power, experience capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Steve, Jesse, if there's a player in the league who most reminds you of a Toyota Tacoma, who might it be?
Nice.
Heavy and strong.
Just hauling buttocks.
Okay, I like that. Jesse, who do you got?
Jake Ottinger. Solid,
really?
reliable.
Oh,
I know when I'm going into the game, I got Otter and net. It's going to be a good game.
I like that. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Ontario Toyota dealer during Red Ted Days, March through May. Again, it's shoptoyota.ca.
Jake McCabe was screwing with Beckett Seneca for the entire third period, and usually screwing with the team's rookie comes with a price. Mm-hmm. Last night made me really doubt what the Ducks are about.
Oh,
it did.
Interesting.
Made me really doubt what the Ducks are about, because not only did they lose the game to a team that has no pride, honor, pride, and courage on the inside of their collar. Next year, it should say never mind. Or just be blank. Have the decency to leave it blank. Fucking disgraceful. But the fact that the Ducks let the Leafs of all teams rattle their cages and mess with their top scoring rookie in the third period, that is delicious to any prospective opponent of theirs in the first round, be it Utah, Edmonton, Vegas, however those cards shake out. I am selling Duck stock after last night's game. And I tell you what.
Is that why you employ Radko Gudas?
Yes.
He's their tough? Like, no, that's Vale.
Well,
right?
Trouba,
Like
Trouba, maybe.
Trouba. But like even Trouba's a guy who will go, but like I don't know him to be a fearsome fighter.
Let me read you Arbor Jack guy, 2023. When he was asked about Gudas answering the bell, he said he never does. I don't know what's up with that guy. He'll be taking runs at guys' knees all game. He does play hard. I'll give it to him. But some point, you got to show up. At some point, you've got to show that you're going to be able to do that, as in answering the bell.
And, he's the reason Sidney Crosby's not playing games right now. Right? Radko Gudas has been
both Olympic captains.
Oh, yeah. It's great, isn't it? Radko Gudas has been suspended 4 times in his NHL career. It's about to be 5, and it'll be for 5 different things. So illegal check to the head, slashing, interference. This one's going to be kneeing, and I missed
one. Want me
one.
to read it out for you?
Yeah, sure.
So CJ put these together.
I tried to do it off my head.
He's missed 21 games, $750,000 in total fines, because you get fined
21 games.
10 games, November 19th, 2027, slashing Matthew Perreault of the Winnipeg Jets in the neck. He forfeited $408,000 in salary for those 10 games. October 10th, 2016, a late hit on Auston Cernak of the Boston Bruins, forfeiting $250,000 in salary. That's 6 games. 3 games, December 2, 2015, for an illegal check to the head of Micah Zibanejad. Excuse me, I don't know why I struggle with that name. Of then the Senators, forfeiting $15,000 in salary. That's how long ago this was.
Wow.
And 2 games, February 20th, 2019, for high-sticking Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, forfeiting $81,000 in salary. So those are the things that he has done. Now, I had to ask CJ about this because I was unsure about how the whole, how are they weighing this? Because I was always under the impression that they only look back 18 months. They do not. When you receive a suspension for the first time, the amount of salary you forfeit is 1/186th of your salary for every game. 186 days is the NHL season. Okay. When you receive a second suspension within 18 months, this is the 18-month rule, making you a technical repeat offender, the amount of salary you forfeit is 1/82nd of your salary for every game. So it's roughly more than double.
You're basically fined a game.
CJ said, in all cases, your entire history is factored into the decision. So when NHL player safety says today, we're going to do a phone hearing, it means that Gudas, and I'm sure this will be announced by the time this podcast is out, is going to get 5 or less.
Yeah.
But they are going to look at his whole history. But because he hasn't been suspended in a while, he will not forfeit as much money, but they will still look at his entire history. Now,
well,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say NHL penalties don't matter. We know that. So let's say Radko Gudas gets suspended 5 games. The Ducks should just dress him for the next game. They should just dress him. What are you going to do? You're going to cancel the game? No, you're not. Right? So let's play. Oh, okay. Well, then we're going to fine you. How about you kiss my ass and I don't pay the fine? How about go fuck yourself?
Well, his problem is he's not an owner.
Yeah,
If
but
he was an owner, he could get away with
the
that.
Ducks owner is an owner. No. I'm not saying Radko Gudas should make this decision. I'm saying the Ducks top down.
Samuelis?
Yeah, they should make this decision. Because what are you going to do about it? The Senators, and I know we're going to get to it fully later, but the Senators fucked over the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't like the Vegas Golden Knights, and I'm going to go to bat for them right now. Senators fucked them over. The Senators were punished for fucking them over. They complained about it for long enough that the NHL went, nah, never mind. Here's your first round pick back. If nothing matters, then nothing matters. If a player is suspended, don't honor the suspension. Dress them. Don't honor the salary cap either. Spend $150 million. What are they going to do?
Well, they could invalidate your trade or invalidate the contract you signed.
Show up. Nothing matters. Play the game. And then they fine you and then you don't pay it. If nothing matters, then nothing matters. So that's what I think the Ducks should do. Here's what the Leafs should do. Since nothing matters if nothing matters. The Leafs are walking into Anaheim, I think at the beginning of their California road trip.
Yeah, 30th of March.
On March 30th. As far as I'm concerned,
We're streaming that game.
it's the only game that matters. It's the only game that matters for the rest of the season. Okay? There's no puck. You skate up to Leo Carlsson in warm-up and you ask him which knee he wants. There shouldn't be a hockey game played that night.
They're not going to do that.
I know they're not going to do that, but if there's a modicum of an NHL team in there,
there isn't.
Because at the end of the day, for the rest of the season, you need to prove there's something. Hey, listen, some guys are playing for contracts. Bo Grew seemed pretty excited to score a goal.
Pizzetta too.
Pizzetta seemed pretty excited to fight off an opening draw. Easton Cowan seems like he wants to stick around in the league, right? You ice guys, you dress guys that are interested in obtaining employment in the National Hockey League. And March 12th, too far away from the playoffs. Ducks are going. They're going to the playoffs. March 30th, you go into that game and you do as much damage as possible so that when they play their first round opponent, they're playing them and they're playing you. You leave a mark on that hockey team that lasts for months in that game on the 30th. I want to see Pizzetta on the first line.
And not playing 3 minutes.
I don't give a shit if McCabe plays forward. I want Brandon Carlo eating popcorn that night and Stetcher in there. I want a guy who's half a foot shorter, but actually gives a shit. I call up as many Marlies as possible. I sign guys on AHL deals to NHL contracts for the rest of the season. I don't give a shit. I let Stolarz play left wing if I had to. You dress as many people who actually give a damn as humanly possible, and from puck drop, you beat the shit out of them. Oh no, I've been kicked out? Fuck you. Who gives a damn? And if you get fined, don't pay it. And if you get suspended, don't honor it.
It's important to understand too, and I think this is worth noting, whatever the suspension is, I was shocked, given Radko Gudas' history, that and literally this hit was so bad that even like random newspapers are picking it, like the New York Post tweeted about it. And it's worth noting that George Parros played 356 games with the Ducks throughout his career. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's a fact.
9 years on the job, George.
He won
someone else.
He won the cup with them. He also has just recently been joined by perhaps the greatest Duck of all time, Ryan Getzlaf, who was recently on a podcast making fun of players who have to play in Toronto and how bad it is to play here.
They hate this place.
So
like, why do we have to dance around hockey people, particularly guys who have never fucking played here, hate this place? They hate this place. They hate that team. They hate us. They hate fans. Genuinely hate us. And I think it affects all of their decisions.
Steve, if the Leafs went out and did everything you outlined to the Ducks on March 30th, like let's say they walk up to Leo Carlsson and they let him pick the knee he gets to keep, and then they go after the other one. does that redeem at all what happened immediately after Auston Matthews goes down?
Not even a bit.
Because for me, it wouldn't change a single thing about how I feel about the team. Are you on the same side?
If Carlo, I'm going to assume Carlo plays that game. You shouldn't. You should never play a game for the rest of the season. But each player who was on the ice when Auston got hurt, Cowan gets a pass because at least he fought Jackson Lacombe. Mm-hmm. William Nylander, Morgan Rielly, and Brandon Carlo should all get themselves kicked out of that game in the first period. Mm-hmm. There shouldn't be a hockey game played that night. The Leafs had nothing to play for. They had not a thing to play for. The Ducks did, and they were getting outplayed by a team not trying. Gudas was out of position. And he, in that moment, with no time to waste, he went with his instincts. And those instincts are to injure his opponent. There's got to be a way to bake that into your instincts. And on March 30th, we're going to find out. If it's just a hockey game, I don't think there's a Leaf I'd like to come back.
Even if Morgan Rielly went up to Radko Gudas, because he'll be back by that time in the game, and he clotheslined him, took him out, and Morgan gets suspended 2 games or something like that. I still don't want Morgan Rielly on the 25-26 lead or 26-27 lead.
I'm with
Me
you.
neither.
I still don't want him. I still don't believe he has it just because he had it in that one moment because we need the response. I still don't think he has that in him.
Well, then what the message is any of you who want to stick around get kicked out of this game. There shouldn't be a hockey game played that night. It should be abandoned. No Leaf should bring a curved stick that night. You're not going to be shooting. Mm-hmm. And if every shot should be a slap shot and don't aim at the net.
Or the goalie's head.
You took out our captain in a game we weren't trying in. Are you out of your fucking mind? And every punch, every hit, every slash, everything on March 30th should be punctuated with your captain did this. Because that's a captain taking out a captain. Mm-hmm. Don't forget. Mm-hmm. Radko did this to you. Mm-hmm. Radko did this to you. You scream it at them while you're punching them. You go to the penalty box. You scream it for the duration of the 5 minutes you're in there. And then when you get out and start another fight, you repeat it. Mm-hmm. That's what a team worth its salt would do.
Yep.
And on March 30th, we're going to find out some answers.
Derek Lee had a good quote. Derek Lee is a reporter for the Ducks. And, there is another side of this, which is the Ducks blew an important game. They could have had, the Oilers lost 7-2 to the Dallas last night. They could have jumped even further ahead. And remember, you don't stay in that top 3 in that division, you're not making the fucking playoffs, right? That's how bad that division is.
The
Ducks
would
have
be
an opportunity.
1 point out of a Western Conference playoff spot.
That's insane. The Ducks have the opportunity to win a division.
They're still in,
and their captain threw the game. And they didn't respond well. Joe Quenneville said this, that was the turning point. But before that, we had some great opportunities and we were looking for a better play. We gave up quality. Then they got momentum, and it was a tough penalty. It was a penalty. I'm not complaining about the call. There was no premeditation. Reflexes did it. That's, of course, he's defending.
Mike Johnson was clowning on the Leafs. Did you hear this part? Where the Ducks were getting too fancy. And the reason they were getting too fancy is there was no pressure from the Leafs whatsoever.
Yeah, Leafs won't hit him.
So the Ducks are like, okay, why are we rushing shots? Let's just globetrotter this shit. And that's why Cutter Gauthier had probably no less than half a dozen scoring chances.
Yeah. Yeah. Quenneville goes on to say it was a disappointing loss because we were trying to build off last game and we did it perfectly for the first period and a half. And we had basically a game and a half where we were doing everything right. We had possession, momentum, and pace. And obviously things kind of fell apart.
It made me feel even worse about the Leafs in a weird way because it proved to me that Craig Berube was right at some moments throughout the season where he would go up to the podium and scream, it's a mentality thing. And if they just put some effort in, they could be a good team because I think the Ducks are a good team. And the Leafs went out there from the second period onwards, or when Auston Matthews goes out onwards, and they hung with this team.
Dude, we've seen it.
We've
seen it.
If they had just tried more throughout the entire season and they had that type of tenacity for all 82 games, they might be in a playoff spot in the East right now.
Almost all
It's so
season long,
sad.
they've been a fringe playoff team. Almost all season long. It wasn't until this losing streak that they were just like, fuck it. And they just completely dropped out of it. Like, yeah, a bounce here, a bounce there. You make a couple clever decisions, which I don't trust this management group to make, so I hope they're all fired. But you have a decent enough offseason. Yeah, like I could absolutely see you back in the mix next year.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, but like this has always been in there, and it needs to be dragged out of them. You know,
The
like
third, no. We're not doing that.
what?
That's the trap.
No,
This has always
yeah,
been in them.
Oh, I agree.
These anybody that says, and I don't disrespect the opinion because it's true, but please don't trust what you see in the third period. That is not this team. That's a mirage. They did it for 20 minutes.
And they keep going out and getting.
I'm saying if that 20-minute effort was there 60 minutes every game, like that'd
Thank
be
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
and that's why in a
can't do it.
roundabout way, they really should have fired Craig Berube earlier. If a new coach comes in and they're like, oh shit, it's on us, let's straighten up and start doing stuff and try and start having some more effort here, maybe the season does turn around.
Now,
Like, it's all a disaster.
I'm advocating for Berube to be fired the moment the season is done. But I will say this. Is there a coach in the world who can get these guys to give a flying fuck?
And that's where
And I don't know if there is.
you go like, oh, maybe the new coach would give them the bump, but we know that they don't have the heart in it, and they don't have the heart in them to do this all the time. Like the guys there, they're useless when it comes to this part of the game. They will never have it, and it needs to be over here. This is the final thing. We're all done.
Yeah.
We know.
Like it should be embarrassing that you were called out by a goalie early in the season, and who this season has been more right than Anthony Stolarz after that game where Seattle visited.
And he had to walk it back to save their egos.
Yeah.
Just disgraceful.
It's one of the touch points. If you look back on this entire era, that Stolarz quote needs to be in the document.
It was the end of them.
Up.
It was the end of them.
Hey, so listen, Jesse's wearing his Doer jacket. Well, it's not jacket, shacket.
My flannel.
Flannel.
Yeah.
I am. It's nice. It's green.
I like the buttons. The buttons are really high quality. I like a good button.
Jesse, can I touch one of the buttons?
Sure.
Touch him. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Is that a substantial button?
That button goes crazy.
It's a great green.
It is.
It is.
Paired
It's
nicely,
several great greens.
Paired nicely with some Doer jeans, Jesse will be not only stylish, but he'll be feeling cool because they got these microfibers that help you regulate temperature, which is kind of important when you're hot all the time. Or maybe you're sitting in a studio for 2 hours every day and the lights are very hot on you. Doer's Performance Denim is amazing. And also, the great thing about it, antimicrobial, meaning fewer washes in between, helping them stay fresh. Jesse looks hot. So will you. And I know you'll love Doer as much as we do. Doer.ca/SDP. You're going to get 15% off your first order. Don't wait. Go to Doer, DUER.ca/SDP for 15% off. That's Doer.ca/SDP. Now, let me give some flowers here, guys, because you guys mentioned Cowan fighting Lacombe. That was great.
Hell yeah. A much
Pizzetta's-
bigger Jackson Lacombe.
Pizzetta's fight off the top with Vale was great.
Yep.
Pizzetta hitting Lacombe later in the third period. Again, Craig,
rocked him.
he had a guy. Pizzetta was motoring out there. He created offensive opportunities.
He did.
And Craig
He
Berube is
did.
like, no, I'm not fucking playing him. Domi is out of the game. Matthews is out of the game. You can find ice time for Pizzetta. Domi was kicked out. People forget.
The Ducks are so lucky they grabbed Domi when they did.
Yeah.
And he's nuts. You waited half a second more, he would have cold cocked Seneca.
March 30th is the time we get to see if Domi's actually for real.
Yeah, Domi.
you can't be fighting guys from behind.
No.
I've changed my mind. Domi first line center that night.
Jesse tweeted this out. He said, "This doesn't feel real, but it's true."
Tell me first line center.
Matias Michelli has the second most goals in the NHL since February 2nd.
What the fuck? Holy shit.
That's changed with goals that happened after his goal, but at that current moment, that was a factually true.
He was up
my
there with
God.
Cutter Gauthier of the Ducks, Draisaitl, Kaprizov, Horvat.
That's hilarious.
Now he
I think Leon scored last night, I think,
did.
to get 8 to hop up in there, but
Okay, third most then.
but I
still
couldn't
nuts.
believe it. I was shocked.
and let me just say this. Matias Michelli,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Sure.
Let's
About
be
what?
honest.
About what?
Your contract's up at the end of the year.
RFA.
We see what's going on.
Whatever.
He's piling goals.
I see what's going on.
When-
yeah, he's
out of
also
When-
he's
when-
getting
when-
the opportunity.
When
though.
Matias wants to play,
Yeah.
that's why they got him. He's very good.
Oh yeah.
But there's a reason he was not playing in Utah last year.
Healthy scratch.
There's a reason he was healthy scratch for a month here in Toronto.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying Craig Berube utilizes this player right, but I've seen too many Vancouver Canucks teams do extremely well after the trade deadline, and they're well out of it with guys padding their stats. And no disrespect to the Canucks, I've seen it with other teams too. But the Canucks,
They won last night.
Canucks are the most recent example.
Woo.
Like the Bruce, there it is, Canucks.
Yeah.
Oh, we're really good. No, we're not.
Nope.
I'm happy for Matias Michelli. I will be happy to see Matias Michelli, even if he goes and he's successful elsewhere, go be successful elsewhere, because that's not a player you can invest in. That's not a player you can invest in. When we needed you, you were not there. Now we don't need you. Now you're there. Interesting. Now
And sorry, it was Kaprizov who scored to
Kaprizov.
mess up the
And he had a good goal, too.
thing. Yeah, not Draisaitl.
Bo Grew gets his first NHL goal on
Hell
it.
yeah.
Say it.
On a goalie.
That's right. 'Cause he did have one before, but it was empty netter.
Yeah, against his former team.
And I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a rock star goal. And what's crazy about Bo Grew is immediately coming in, you could tell Berube likes him because he's playing him around 10 minutes. With Matthews gone, no lot, no wah. Bo Grew is going to be playing a lot of minutes.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
That's a good hockey player.
Imagine you played him earlier.
They're
not going to play Quillen.
It's been so odd. Every decision they've made this year has been odd.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't utilize their Marlies enough. Like, there's got to be incentive for players playing great.
Yeah.
And twice this season, Quillen was playing great.
Mm-hmm.
They called him up. They didn't play him. They sent him down. He plays great. You call him up. You don't play him.
Yeah.
Like, it's so frustrating. I hope it doesn't screw him up heading into the Calder Cup playoffs, that's a great place to get some experience.
Yep.
Those are both really good players for this team, and the Marlies have others.
Now,
1741 for Bo Grew.
Those are that's a lot of minutes.
A healthy amount of time on ice.
Those are Calle Yarncroke minutes. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry. So yeah, Cowan, Pizzetta, Grew. I want to see more of that. Michelli, I'm happy for you. Please keep padding your stats so we can get our third round pick back. No, I'm serious.
I'm open to him coming back, but meh.
I don't need another guy who can't perform when we need him. Sorry.
There's some validity.
What are
to that.
What are we preserving?
Yeah.
Resign him at $3.45 million? No.
You're trying to trade Michelli?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. You can go to the Devils. You'll be nice. You'll fit in right there. You'll be perfect.
60
Soft
points.
as shit. I get so annoyed every time he scores because I'm like, where the fuck was that dude? Where the fuck was that?
So, you know the condition on the pick
is if he gets 50 points, it goes to a second.
So he's on pace for, if he played every game this season, he's scoring at a 47-point rate. It's right there.
No, not going to happen.
He's not going to get there, but
if I'm wrong about Michelli in the end, that's fine, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp, and let me tell you, it's that time of year where it gets hot and then it gets cold and then it gets gray and then it's sunny, and that could be difficult.
We are getting walloped by the tail end of Fool Spring as I look out the window and I see several centimeters of snow.
That's crazy. That's snowing again.
Yeah.
It was
God,
just
I didn't even see it. Wow.
You didn't even see that? Oh, yeah, because you looked this way the whole show.
Holy
15 degrees like a week ago.
Oh, and this is hard for people.
Yeah.
Seasonal disorder is a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And BetterHelp can help with that. If you got that going on, and believe us, we feel the grind. We feel you. We're three men who love mental health, and we want you to try it out. 30,000 credentialed therapists on BetterHelp. 10% off your first month. I'll get to that discount in a second. And remember, you're going to get matched with a therapist in like less than a couple of days here. So you're going to take a quiz. They're going to match you with somebody who might fit your specialties. And 30,000, and the therapists are licensed therapists. They're not just somebody on TikTok they picked out of nowhere. This is the real deal. It's BetterHelp, and we want you feeling better. Sign up and get 10% off BetterHelp.com/SDP. Again, that's BetterHelp.com/SDP. Now, let's move on to the other big story, and this is a bigger national story that happened yesterday, which is the NHL announced the Senators are getting their first round pick back.
Boo.
NHL modifies penalty to Senators for canceled trade, and this is from the National Hockey League website. The NHL announced today that it has decided to modify the disciplinary sanction originally imposed on the Ottawa Senators franchise for its role in connection with the July 2021 trade of player Evgeny Dadonov from the Senators to the Golden Knights and subsequent invalidated March 2022 Dadonov trade between the Golden Knights and Ducks.
That's such manipulative language. We modified it.
The sanction
walked it back.
The sanction originally imposed on the Senators provided for forfeiture of the club's first round pick in one of 24, 25, or 26. The Senators subsequently applied to the league for reconsideration and relief for the original penalty, citing primarily the change in club ownership and oversight, which, in the club's view, changed the appropriateness of the penalty initially imposed.
Hog shit.
After due and thorough consideration, the league decided that the modification of the original penalty was warranted and accordingly has amended the club sanction as follows. The Senators' penalty will now involve the forfeiture of their first round pick in 2026 in favor of the right instead to pick a 32nd overall in the 2026 draft, the last pick in the first round. The club will not be permitted to trade or transfer the 32nd overall pick. In addition, the club will pay a fine of $1 million. Now, I want to let's give you some lore. You guys want to go on a story? Story, a little adventure? I got a story for you. Let's talk about Michael Andlauer for a second. And I want to start this segment by saying I'm really impressed. I'm happy for him. And I'm happy for Sens fans, legitimately. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Michael Andlauer was a majority owner of the Montreal Canadiens for years.
Minority.
Minority, excuse me. And that's what I meant to say. And wanted to be an owner, like a full-time, the majority owner. But, the NHL wants to vet you. They've had some bad experiences with some bad owners.
Sure.
And, the Sens became available when Eugene Melnyk died.
It's the reason they went with him over Snoop Dogg.
That's right. There were multiple bidders, including a group headed by Snoop Dogg.
Oh, there you go.
For the Senators. Some of the bids at the time were reportedly, gentlemen, over $1 billion. But the NHL felt most comfortable with Michael Andlauer because A, they knew him. B, they knew his business and how he made all his money. C, it was just him. So he wasn't coming in as the head of a consortium. It was just him owning the team, knowing the league and knowing how it worked. Because when you bring in a new owner, they don't know how shit works. You look at what happened with Fenway Sports and their sell-off of the Penguins, which is ongoing. Fenway Sports hates the way the NHL is run and stopped sending people to Board of Governors meetings because they hated it so much.
That's so insulting.
Isn't that insane?
Yes.
So in real estate or in corporate acquisitions, you would call Michael Andlauer's bid a clean bid. One guy, the money's verified. You've worked with him before. This is a clean and easy transaction.
Least amount of risk.
No complications.
Yep.
The issue with a clean candidate, guys, usually is that a clean offer is usually the lowest bid. And the reason for that is the attraction which the bidder puts in, which is, hey, I'm less of a headache. I'm good for it. I'm just not going to pay what those guys are going to pay.
That's the discount you get for being a good guy.
Yeah.
So fair.
Discount.
And if you're the seller, you're kind of like, do I want this to be tied up for 2 years or do I want my money now? So I can invest my money, reinvest my money, especially if it's close to $1 billion. I can make money on that money. I would lose money trying to close this deal, right?
I want money.
The NHL wanted the Sens to go for $1 billion back then. And you have to remember, this is before the Coyotes were transferred out of Arizona to Utah for $900 million or whatever that was. And the whole goal was to get every franchise up over $1 billion. But they realized, well, we're not going to be able to get $1 billion offer from the guy that we want. And Lauer says, I'll do $800 million, which is think about that. That's an astounding amount of money.
It's also an astounding discount.
Yes. But at the time, it wasn't. At the time, people were like, oh, Senators for $800 million? That seems about right. Remember, this is 4 years ago. It's a long time. Wow. So beyond the fact that, beyond the $800 million bid, Lauer was correct in assessing the market, which is hard to find sponsorship in, corporate sponsor, because it's a government town, right? So it's harder to find the bigger corporate sponsors there. It also needed a new arena, which Eugene Melnyk had completely fucked up, right? LeBreton Flats, it wasn't going to happen. Now it's happening again because of Michael Landauer.
I'm sure that place exists. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like, it's like QAnon, you're just not really, it's.
I don't know if it is. Like
so they put on the charm offensive. The NHL and the Melnyk family put on the charm offensive. Mm-hmm. And they finally, Gary is very involved in this process. This is an important point. Gary finally gets Michael to come up $100 million so that it's acceptable to the Senator. Remember, there was also the Ryan Reynolds bid too, which was competing with Snoop Dogg. Mm-hmm. So Ryan Reynolds was almost in there. Gary got Michael and Lauer to come up $100 million, and the Sens sold for roughly $900 million.
Huge.
Okay?
Huge.
Now, then once he's in the door, transaction complete, ink on paper, which takes the entire summer. In October, November, the NHL slaps his franchise with this penalty,
right?
Which, a screw up conducted by Pierre Dorion, where Genny Dadonov was traded to Anaheim via Vegas at the trade deadline, a move which the NHL blocked and screwed Vegas at the deadline.
Screwed them.
They were trying to clear cap. Dorion did not properly disclose Dadonov's no trade list to Vegas before he was traded, and therefore Ottawa was held responsible when Vegas had the trade blocked and complained to the NHL. Now, that cost, it would have cleared $3.375 million for the Golden Knights. And obviously the trade was null and void, and it was a crazy story at the time. You can be forgiven for not remembering it fully because it was 2021. We're just coming off of COVID. Now, when this happened, and this is the key, Jesse, and I want you to bring up this YouTube short.
Okay.
Ooh. Michael Andlauer, when this penalty was leveled, Michael Andlauer spoke fairly candidly about the decision. And I remember this press conference and remember thinking, I'm going to have to file that away. And you know how terrible my memory is. It's awful.
Adam, we've known the outcome of this for years.
We have. But these comments are extremely telling, and they give it away. Have a listen to this. It's just a minute long.
And my follow-up question to that would be, you just kind of mentioned how you never anticipated this. You sort of inherited this situation. I think a lot of fans are wondering why you should this organization have to pay for something that happened 18 months ago, not even on your watch. What would you say to that?
I totally agree with you. That's a question you have to ask the NHL, why it took a whole year since the hearing. Granted, it was a 2-day hearing, 73-page report. It's not something that just slam dunk. And the commissioner had a lot of time to deliberate on it and think about it. But why I inherited this is beyond me. There's no reason for it to last that long. I knew about it through the due diligence process, and it was basically, from the seller's perspective, it was really a non-issue. So, I don't know if first round is a non-issue to you guys, but it is to me.
So let's leave it there for a sec.
That was the end of the video.
Let's leave it at the end of the video.
Okay, so he says, from the seller's perspective, it was a non-issue. Who did I just tell you stage managed this entire video or this entire deal?
Gary Bettman.
G baby.
So the seller's perspective is coming from who? Through who?
Gary
Bettman.
Gary Bettman.
Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
So Gary Bettman, why did it take a year after the hearing to come up with a decision? Mm-hmm. Because when you don't have a first round pick, that affects sale price.
Oh.
And so Gary...
Adam, are you implying that he was intentionally dishonest?
I'm implying that he might have left it out. Now, this is all alleged before anybody gets mad.
No,
but the Melnyk, here's what I know. The Melnyk Trust, who work very closely with Gary.
I can forgive someone for making that assumption. that alleged action.
Michael Andlauer's words is that this was a non-issue by the seller. Who delivered that message? That'd be probably Gary or his people.
Yeah, Andlauer spells out, I think, what we kind of all assume happened behind the scenes there.
But
Gary Bettman's lying.
Bill Foley, Jesse, in Vegas, brand new owner, spent a lot of money doing great things, hadn't won the cup yet. He continued pushing the NHL behind the scenes. He was pissed, and I don't blame him. Now, Gary knew he was going to have to drop the hammer, but as we've already pointed out, why don't we just wait till the sale closes and then we'll do it?
Can I point out why he was pissed? Not only did Vegas miss the playoffs that year, they missed by 3 points.
That cost him millions.
3 points. So no, the Sens got fined $1 million Canadian dollars. If the Vegas Golden Knights are able to finagle the cap like they wanted to, get those extra 3 points, and make it into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and let's say they only play one round, they would have made exponentially more than what the Senators had to pay as a fine. So this deal cost the Senators $1 million. It potentially cost the Vegas Golden Knights a hell of a lot.
I think it's probably about $10 million.
Mm-hmm. A lot of money.
Probably about 10.
A lot of damn money.
So for Gary's part, he did the lawyer thing. And the lawyer thing here is play for time and hope that the public forgets. Remember, he waited 18 months to assign the penalty.
Gary never has to worry about that. No one cares about your product, bud.
Gary waited 18 months to assign the penalty. Then he waited another 2.5 years to amend the penalty yesterday. And suddenly, it's been 5 full years, March 2021 to March 2026, since it happened. And the NHL knows that the public, who have lives and kids and jobs and everything else, are going to forget. You play for time, people will forget. And the NHL, when they leveled this fine, it was against the franchise. The NHL in its statement says, well, considering that the general manager is gone and that the owner is gone, well, we understand why they're applying for this. No.
Why on earth does that matter?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But what Michael Andlauer has here, and this is where I have to congratulate him, is leverage beyond leverage. Because
he did a great job.
He pulled up emails.
Oh yeah, nothing against him. Nothing against him whatsoever.
He went. Let's just he went to Gary and said, "Listen, you amend this, or these emails are coming out."
That's what you think happened?
I'm 99.999% sure, because Gary's not going to do anything unless somebody's got leverage. You got to remember, Michael Andlauer is 1/32 of his bosses, right? This is also his boss saying, you better reduce this. Now, I love that Andlauer went and he fought for the Sens pick. Do I think the Senators should have their pick today? No, I don't.
Absolutely.
But I'm happy for their fans who seem thrilled. I'm happy for Andlauer. Does the reasoning make sense? Absolutely not.
I'm happy for Bruce Garriock.
Bruce Garriock is having a Brucey time. Having the best time right now. But I will tell you this. Gary Bettman doesn't do anything unless there's leverage against him, and Michael Andlauer had it. Let's go back to 2014.
Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up, Adam. Because, the Senators get fined a first-round pick, but here's the difference. One owner did the bad thing. His team did the bad thing. They were fined a first-round pick. New owner comes on board, says, hey, why am I being fined this? And the NHL could be like, well, everyone, see, there's extenuating circumstances that explain our reasoning for why the Senators get their pick. In 2014, no GM was fired. Lou Lamoriello tried to sign Kovalchuk to...
That was in 2011, by the way.
Oh.
That 2014 is when they changed the penalty, though.
So in 2011, Lou Lamoriello signed Ilya Kovalchuk to a bullshit contract.
Yep. And it's funny, the contract was legal, but the NHL was so mad that Lou Lamoriello signed a contract that wasn't in the spirit of the rules, hence where his leverage comes from.
Go shit in your hat, the spirit.
That's what happened.
Was it or wasn't it legal?
It was legal, but it was not in the spirit of the rule. The original contract wasn't legal, apparently, and they rejected it, so they amended it a little bit, and Lou said, it's legal, you have to let it go. So what happens is, here's the sanctions are originally imposed by the club, included a significant fine. This is from CBS News back in 2014. A forfeiture of the club's third-round selection in 2011, which was actually forfeited. The forfeiture of the first-round draft selection, which was deferred by the club, where have we heard that before, until this year, 2014, in accordance with the terms of the original penalty. As a result, as it relates to the portion of the discipline, the Devils stood to forfeit it entirely in 2014. So, just like the Senators, who were given 3 years of options. You can forfeit in 24, you can forfeit in 25, or you can forfeit in 26. The Senators held on and said, we are not forfeiting in 24, we are not forfeiting in 25. The Devils could have forfeited in 2012, 2013, or 2014. They kept the pick in 2012.
2012 would have made sense. They made it to the Stanley Cup final.
They kept the pick in 2013.
Yep.
2014, not only is the pick the 30th pick, there's only 30 teams, but Kovalchuk's not there anymore, so I don't know why we have the penalty. I'll get to that in a second. And their $3 million fine was reduced 50%.
Oh, so it was $1.5 million.
Yes. And
the Chicago Blackhawks were fined $2 million.
The reason given...
Just want to point that out. It was originally 3.
Yes.
Okay.
The reason originally given for why the Devils were able to get out of this was, well, Kovalchuk's playing in the KHL because he went to the KHL, signed a goofy deal in 2014. And that's not the reason. The reason is Lou and the Devils, and again, alleged, signed a legal contract before the lockout. The NHL hated it, but they had to allow it, and they fined them anyway. Because I guess there was something in the original contract that didn't quite work. And what Lou and the Devils ownership were doing was they were saying, Gary, it's a legal deal and we will escalate this. And that's going to look really bad for you. You don't want this. You don't want to go to court over this. That is not a good look for the league.
Yeah, the deal that was rejected was a 17-year deal for $102 million. And then the deal that was accepted was 15 years for $100 million. And there was never a good explanation on why the 17-year one was cap circumvention and the 15-year one wasn't.
The final 5 years were something like $1 million or something like it was very... The spirit of the contract, both contracts, was very obvious, but one was to the letter of the law and one wasn't.
And it was a smart GM finding a loophole.
Loophole Lou. Why do we call him that?
Because he's good at finding those things.
So at the time, Darren Dreger tweeted, needless to say, other NHL teams are not happy about it. And I wondered today.
That was of the Devils getting their pick back?
That's the Devils getting their pick back.
I thought it was interesting, too, that they gave their pick back in the same way. So the Devils got the 30th pick in the draft in 2014, and the Ottawa Senators are getting the 32nd pick in the 2026 draft. They gave them the pick back at the end of the round in the same way in both cases.
Yeah, Devils... Yeah, got the last, because there were only 30 teams back then. I had to rewire my brain there for a sec, yeah.
Andlauer's not stupid.
No.
This guy's a dog with a bone. And I know he's made Gary's job painful for the last 3 years. This was supposed to be easy for Gary.
Gary's made Gary's job painful.
Okay, fair enough. But Michael Andlauer could have sat back and taken his medicine. He's not going to do that. And him talking that openly at the time, we were like, whoa, watch out, Mike. Gary's not going to like that. Turns out, Mike turned the tables just like the Devils did, and he studied history, which is this. The outcome of the Devils is essentially the same outcome the Senators got, and good on the Sens for getting it, even though I disagree with the logic. Let me tell you this. I'm always up for Gary being exposed for what he is. And to me, the win here is how weak they look. It's not just Gary. When we say Gary, it's the people around.
The NHL.
These guys look weak. These guys look like they can't hold their own league accountable. And that's because they can't.
Adam, this is why earlier this show, I said, don't circumvent the salary cap. Don't honor it. Don't honor it. What is it next year? 110? Spend $150 million. What are they going to do? What are they going? Oh, they're going to fine you.
Do you remember when the Kings got out of Mike Richards' deal for a reason that was completely nobody told us?
Yeah.
They just got to buy him out.
That was trash. Yep. They violate their own precedents all the time. The next time, I would love to see an owner. Okay, let's just be honest. James Dolan, you have to step up. You're the head crazy officer of the NHL. The next time one of your players gets suspended, don't honor it.
How do you think,
play them?
How do you guys think Bill Foley's feeling about this?
The next time a Vegas Golden Knight. Well, first of all, they circumvent the cap all the time, but
they're good at it. Good for them.
They're good at it, and they shouldn't lose a wink of sleep over it. I'm sure they didn't in the first place, but now it is Horseshoe City. There is no way the Vegas Golden Knights should ever feel bad about the way they conduct business when it comes to the salary cap. And I tell you what, next time a player gets suspended, don't honor it. Don't honor it. I would love, what? I know I'm being ridiculous. I know I'm being very silly about this. But as a thought exercise, what would happen? It's Mark Stone. He decided to shoulder tackle someone's knee again. And they're like, you know what? We're actually going to do something about it this time. Mark Stone suspended 5 games. And the very next game, he's out there for warm-up. And the opening faceoff comes and he just lines up. What are you going to do? Ref goes 2 minutes, too many men, whatever, throws you in the box. No. Don't go. What are they going to do? Force you into the box?
That would require NHL players to be rebels, which is against their nature. They're very much. They'll go. You could ask him. Bill Foley could ask him to do that, but Mark Stone's not going to do that. But a thought exercise, you're right.
I'm simply going to play. What are you going to do? Tell everyone in the building go home? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to find me, and I'm going to tell you go fuck yourself.
So I'm wondering with this, Jesse and Steve, and I think you're onto something with that. How do the Vegas Golden Knights get paid back here? Because this was the justice for them. And I think now Bill Foley's like, okay, Gary, but you owe me. So I'm watching the Vegas Golden Knights like a hawk over the next 3 years because it's going to be long. Remember, they want it to be a long time. There's going to be a favor called in by the Golden Knights. I know it's going to happen. I just want to know when.
Pet theory, because you got to make it about the Leafs.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Remember very briefly, there was talk about the Vegas Golden Knights and tampering with Mitch Marner.
Mm-hmm.
Leafs call up the league. We're mad. League calls them back. No, you aren't. No, you are not.
Yeah.
Why? Well, and now who's out? You're just paying favors all around. You don't even know what to keep track of. So let's pretend my scenario is correct. We have no way of knowing that. But let's pretend it is correct. Now you owe the Leafs.
Right. Which they're never going to cash that in.
Now, you know how you would avoid this endless cycle of owing favors? Just having a spine. Just sticking to your guns. Because, okay, now let's reverse this exercise. Andlauer's upset. What are you going to do? The fine is the fine. I'm the league. Tough shit. Now, I think there's an answer to that, Adam.
What is it?
The league was in the wrong.
The league was in the wrong.
And it's difficult to have a spine when you're dead fucking wrong, which they were both times.
And Andlauer and Lou, but Andlauer more so, gave them an off ramp. Okay, I'll accept some. I'll accept the $1 million fine, which is nothing to me. I got my pick back. I get a win in my market. You guys don't have egg on your face. He gave them an off ramp, and they took it. That's brilliant negotiating. If you're a Senator fan, you should want to run through a wall for this guy. I wish my owner had balls like this.
Oh, you have an owner. You have an owner.
This guy's a fucking guy, and I like him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I like this a lot. I don't like the way it went down. I don't like the outcome in terms of just theoretical. But you know what? The Senators and their fans have had shit kicked in their face for years by their own owner.
Yeah.
And the league has not helped.
No.
And Lauer, that's a guy.
That's a guy. Oh, he's a problem. He's a problem for everyone but the Sens, which is a nice change of pace.
He's exactly what the Sens need.
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, I'm not holding anything against the Sens for this. I'm not holding anything against Ann Lauer. It's just, the Ottawa Senators were fined. Eugene Melnyk wasn't fined. Pierre Dorion wasn't fined.
Yeah.
And he paid for it with his job. That was his form of can he get his job back? I don't know. Since we're walking shit back, can we just give him a gig? Why not? Apparently, he didn't really do anything wrong.
He'll go run Hockey Canada with all those other guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Shanny as his boss or whatever.
Jesse, when this story hits you, is your instant thought, what is your instant thought? Are you upset by the injustice of it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for the drama of it? What is it that stirs your soul about it?
I thought the franchise was the fine. I thought it was bullshit that you use the new owner as an excuse to rescind the punishment when the crest is what got punished, not the people who did the task who got fired ultimately, but it was the Ottawa Senators organization that was being punished, and a change in ownership still is the same owner, is the same organization. So I don't buy the NHL's reasoning, but I do understand that the NHL is run by 32 guys who sit in a boardroom and they make their decisions. And Gary Bettman acts on behalf of those people. So I think they came to this conclusion as a collective in some way, where a majority of them did agree. You know, they're sitting around doing whatever weird stuff they do, and Ann Lauer's making his case. And maybe Bill Foley didn't agree with the decision, but I know that the majority of owners did agree with this decision, else Gary Bettman would not have made it. He does not act on his own. He acts on behalf of them. He is just a conduit. So Ann Lauer and the Senators getting their first round pick back is something that the majority of NHL owners saw as justice for this new guy entering their secret club. So that's how I kind of saw it.
Can I ask another question with regard to the punishment? So, all right, the Sens, you're fined money and you're fined pick because you did bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the Vegas Golden Knights, you're like, okay, great. So, like, do I get compensated?
Yeah.
Like, there's no victims in the Kovalchuk thing, right? It's I guess the other 29 teams. But there are no victims. There wasn't a team that wasn't able to conduct business because of the actions of the Devils. What's wrong with, like, okay, the Sens don't lose their pick, but for the next 2 or 3 years, the Vegas Golden Knights get the option to pick swap.
Or they get the pick at the bottom of the third round. Something.
Pick swap.
I think you're right. You're going down the right angle in that they should have been compensated. If you're taking away the punishment, there still needs to be some sort of going back to Vegas and giving them something in this case.
I'm Bill Foley. I'm sitting here. They're punished. I'm not compensated in the slightest. And then you walked their punishment
Now
back.
they're unpunished.
And I still get nothing.
Yeah.
Well, if there was tampering going on, I think we know what the answer was.
No, there wasn't.
But if there wasn't tampering, even if there was, there wasn't. But
so let's pretend my theory's right. So Vegas undercut the Leafs, and the Leafs can't complain about it because of the Sens? This is a circus. It's not a league.
No, the Leafs can complain it. They choose not to. And Lauer chose to complain. The Devils chose to complain.
Anyway, Gudas has a phone hearing.
All right. And lastly, I just want to quickly hit Bill Guerin. It's so funny when this happens outside of Toronto. Wants to change the playoff format because he thinks it's ridiculous that these 3 teams, Dallas, Colorado, and Minnesota, that one will not make it, at least one will not make it out of the first round. He thinks that's ridiculous. And I just think it's funny when it's not Toronto to hear that happen. And I hope that other teams also speak up and say this.
Travis Yost made a great point too. Like, forget Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado.
Yep.
It is very conceivable that the top wild card in the West could play on the road against the Pacific Division winner despite having more points than them. The Utah Mammoth are 1 point back of the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah.
The Ducks lead the Pacific Division. Utah's the top wild card.
It's a bad format.
It's fucking horrible.
Michael Russo on the Minnesota Wild, 60 assists in 60 games for Quinn Hughes, the last defenseman to do that. Paul Coffey, 92-93.
Damn. And that was a very high-scoring year.
And the rest of it, obviously, we have the William Eklund goal last night.
Holy
which
shit.
might be goal of the year.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
That was crazy. And
Goal of the
Tage
year.
Thompson got 5 one-timers in one shift against the Caps and did not score, but was laughing on the way to the
I
bench.
kept waiting for that clip to end in a goal.
Yeah, me too.
It was funny.
Anyway, so that's the comings and goings today. I know our show has run a little bit long here, so I'm going to wrap it up. Is that cool? Do we have anything else that I missed?
Shout out Canada Baseball going tonight against Team USA. Shout out Fanatics for sending over this hoodie.
Shout out Jack Hughes for his motivational video for a quarterfinal game.
Could really use it for the underdog United States. Baseball.
I hope they're not hungover.
I hope they magically find a way to pull off an upset.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool.
You know what? Maybe Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh can pull off the impossible. The fuck are we doing? Oh my God. Anyway, not a league.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.